All right. I think we are live yet again. And here we are. Good evening, everyone. We're back. It's Monday. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rathbone. So there's been major developments in the war in the Middle East. Iran just chunked the deuce, said, fuck you, America. You guys are perfidious tricksters. Israel, you keep breaking the ceasefire. Lebanon and Palestine was part of the peace deal, as you might remember. And yet, Israel has only gone on to escalate more and more bombings, more strikes against both Palestine and Lebanon. So Iran seems to have had it. They've suspended any peace deal. They've issued evacuation warnings in northern Israel. We now expect Israel to get touched yet again within the next 24 hours. So Iran appears to have reached its threshold of patience. And thank you for that, whatever that was. Interesting sounds. Let's go and switch over here. I hope you like the setup. This is the article from The Guardian. Figured we'd start here just to give people some information on the top news story of the day. It says Iran suspends peace talks after violation of ceasefire in Lebanon. Iran has indicated it will suspend peace talks with the U.S. in protest against Israel's offensive in Lebanon, threatening collapse of negotiations with Washington as the two sides skirmished amid a faltering ceasefire. The Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, said the ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. is unequivocally a ceasefire on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Its violation on one front is a violation of the ceasefire on all fronts. Just a second. Yeah, sorry, just a quick situation. Here we go. Okay. Back to the Goyslop. So its violation on one front is a violation of the ceasefire on all fronts. The U.S. and Israel are responsible for the consequences of any violation. The U.S. and Israel are responsible for the consequences of any violation. A news agency aligned to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said Tehran was suspending its participation in talks designed to end the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump has said the U.S. was not yet informed of Iran suspending talks, but suggested he was not opposed to a halt in negotiations. The President said, I think we've been talking too much. If you want to know the truth, it's pretty funny given the fact that we know that Iran and the U.S. have not been talking. That's why they had to have Pakistan as a mediator. He says, I think going silent would be very good, and that could be for a long time. The U.S. would not begin another military escalation immediately if negotiations fell through, Trump added, but would maintain its blockade on Iranian ports. It doesn't mean we're going to go and start dropping bombs all over there, he said. We'll just go silent. We'll keep the blockade. The blockade is a piece of steel, he says. The apparent collapse of talks followed the U.S. hitting Iranian radar and drone sites at the weekend in Tehran on Monday, saying it had countered by targeting a military base in Kuwait that it claimed was involved in the U.S. operation. Trump said last week that the U.S. was ready to lift its blockade on Iranian ports as part of a peace deal with Iran that never materialized. Iran's suspension of talks indicates the anger in Tehran over Israel's offensive in Lebanon, which threatened to intensify on Monday as Israel issued evacuation orders for residents of Beirut's southern suburbs. Iran's military central command warned residents of northern Israel to leave in the event that Israel carried out attacks on Beirut or its southern suburbs. So they weren't even saying, look, we are definitely going to attack. We're just saying, or they're just saying, in the event that Israel does what it does, most predictably, most inevitably, we will retaliate at the behest of Lebanon. Kuwait has advised all citizens to stay indoors due to an imminent likely attack. The Iranian army warned that if Benjamin Nosferatu went ahead with the bombing of Dahaya, remember the infamous Dahaya doctrine? That's its namesake. That's how it got its name. Obviously, they've been bombing Dahaya for decades. longer than you've been alive, all right, the southern suburb of Beirut or the city, then residents of northern Israel and military targets elsewhere inside Israel would be attacked. And here is a little infographic. IDF reissues pre-ceasefire displacement orders. Who the fuck are you, IDF? The Diaper Brigade? Trump said he had spoken. So this is the yellow, their infamous yellow line. The IDF's yellow line says the area of no return. The Beaufort Castle, I've learned about this. I had no idea there was such a thing called the Beaufort Castle, but apparently the Israelis have bombed it. It's like, I don't know, thousands of years old. I think it's a UNESCO heritage site. And look, you see that they actually, reports have indicated that they actually passed over the Litany River, or the Litani River, however you want to say it. And that's a quite according to the Israelis, that's quite an achievement. They're kind of patting themselves on the back because it's taken them 20 years. Remember, in 2006 they invaded Lebanon, and I think they claim that they went past the Litani River, but I don't think that's actually true. For reasons, the fact that I've studied this a little bit, and I know just how badly they lie and they stage all these little propaganda exercises and film the IDF like running into a field, and they'll say, oh, we captured north of the Litani River. Come to find out that's not where it was, and they were actually beaten back. And it appears that we should take their celebration with a grain of salt. So Trump said that he had spoken with Netanyahu and via intermediaries said with Hezbollah. So this is in reference to this. I have a tweet here. He shared this about 3 hours. Wait, there's a few of them. Yeah, here it is. So this is the Truth Social tweet that I think that was the Axios article was referencing. And he says here, from 7 hours ago, I had a very productive call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, as if anybody needs the clarification. And there will be no troops going into Beirut, and any troops that are on their way have already turned back. Likewise, through highly placed representatives, I had a very good call with Hezbollah, he says. And they agreed that all shooting will stop, that Israel will not attack them, and they will not attack Israel, President Donald J. Trump. Well, this is most likely bogus. I mean, the fact that Donald Trump is taking calls with, or Hezbollah is taking calls with President Trump is highly dubious. And a lot of analysts say that this is just pure fabrication on Trump's part, par for the course, for the President, of course. And so that's what they're referencing. That's what he says, Oh, wait, no, that's not that. We do want to get to that article in just a second, but let me go back to the, okay, so that was the Guardian we were listening to or reading from. So he says, so they quote that Truth Social tweet, that bogus tweet, continuing on, and says there was no immediate confirmation of the agreements from Israel or from Hezbollah, and it was not clear with whom in the organization Trump had spoken via the intermediary. Definitely BS. Exactly, PJ. You're absolutely right. Lebanon's embassy in Washington later confirmed that both Israel and Hezbollah had agreed to a reciprocal cessation of attacks. Now, mind you, this is Lebanon's embassy in Washington. We know that is a Zionist, entity, basically. The Lebanese embassy in Washington. They act on behalf of the Mossad, so we can take whatever they're saying with a grain of salt. They say that Hezbollah has agreed to a reciprocal cessation of attacks, including Israeli strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs. So let's just read the end of this, and then we'll switch on to some other later developments past this article, because things have, developed past this. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency said Tehran would ask the Houthis in northern Yemen to mount a second shipping blockade in the Bab el-Mandab Strait. That'd be huge, at the southern entrance to the Red Sea. And I think that's really important because obviously that leads on to the Suez Canal. That's even more of a global economic choke point than the Strait of Hormuz. So this would be a major escalation from Tehran to ask the Houthis in northern Yemen to mount a second shipping blockade in the Bab el-Mandab Strait, which is the strait that leads into the Red Sea, onwards to the Suez Canal, and westward through Europe and beyond. The tension has led to the oil price to rise once again, reaching close to $100 a barrel. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Iran's chief negotiator and Speaker of Parliament, said the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports and Israeli actions in Lebanon were clear evidence of U.S. non-compliance with the ceasefire. Every choice has a price, and the bill comes due. It will all fall into place, he added. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the preamble. I feel like Israel has violated the ceasefire for weeks now. They've been attacking Lebanon and Palestine. I've been wondering, what's the holdup, Iran? I mean, I'm not trying to, Monday morning quarterback this from afar, from my ivory imperial tower, but it seems like Iran has been playing the cards close to their chest, been doing the waiting game. Yes, this bro does read the chat, okay? But right now, I can't have 4 eyes reading the chat and the article at the same time, chatter. So we will get to your comments, but we're trying to intake a lot of information right now, trying to educate ourselves, and I'm trying to disseminate and amplify information that I think is relevant for understanding global world events, okay? So we're going through that for a little bit, and we'll get to your comments shortly, all right? The U.S. and Iran have exchanged strikes since their planned ceasefire took effect in early April. The on-off diplomacy appeared to have reached the point of a deal on Friday, only for Trump to pull back, demanding revisions to the outline agreement. So, I was listening to Larry Johnson, full disclosure, great analyst, former CIA analyst and State Department person who's, been speaking a lot of truth. And I can read, Carrie. I can read. I told you guys I can read really good, Lee. And that's what my English teacher said in 6th grade, and that's why I got awarded high honors for my reading capabilities. And your mom seems to like it, so I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. What were we talking about before that fucker just rudely interrupted me? God damn it. So, yeah, I was just like, come on, let's get to it. Boom, boom, Tel Aviv, I say allegedly. In a sign of European concern that the ceasefire may be on the verge of collapse, France's president, Emmanuel Macron, spoke on Sunday to Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian. There was a spurious report about Pezeshkian resigning from his post that people were promoting on Twitter and the like. And come to find out that was a fake news. In case you fell for it, he urged them to recognize the necessity of a ceasefire in Lebanon and for the Strait of Hormuz to be reopened to resume this transit of oil. Macron suggested Europe could help provide expertise for the talks on the future of Iran's nuclear program. In remarks that will infuriate those that believe an agreement on the strait is urgent for the world economy, Trump in a social media post told Americans, just sit back and relax. It'll all work out in the end. Just keep paying the tab, Americans. It's going to be fine. By the way, I, President Trump, do not care about your financial ails. The president is under pressure from his own side to show the war has ended Iran's nuclear program, even if it did not end the country's regime. He has come close to admitting the attack on Iran was a mistake. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, Ismail Baquet, probably butchered that name, but that's okay, defended its strikes on U.S.-linked military facilities, arguing that countries hosting bases used in attacks against Iran could not evade responsibility. He said chaos in Washington was producing contradictory negotiating positions and insisted Iran would defer any discussions on its nuclear program until after the strait had been opened. He said any agreement would need endorsement by the UN Security Council, and for the first time confirmed Iran was looking for reparations from the U.S. And I just remembered Marco Rubio beseeching the UN, apparently, calling upon the UN to open the strait for the Americans, which is just so laughably ridiculous and absurd because we have flaunted UN international laws. The UN can't even stop a fucking genocide, okay? And it also highlights, obviously, the failure of the Americans to end the blockade, to open up the strait. So confirmed Iran was looking for reparations from the U.S. Progress had been made on unlocking Iranian assets, he said, adding that the talks in Oman had covered Iran's concerns about the need for a new system of governance for the strait. This is a long article, but we're trudging through because we're learning so much, and this will be on the test. Yes, this is for a grade. Your participation is mandatory. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Garibabadi, it's a mouthful, urged Oman not to give into U.S. threats, adding it is in the country's interests to cooperate with the systems considered by Iran because the cost of providing maritime services is much less than the cost of wartime insurance. Ooh, that's good. And there is no plan for stoppages, inspection, or seizure. So peep that for a second. The cost of providing maritime services is less than the cost of wartime insurance. It's like the Americans created the problem and then they're trying to sell people on the solution to the problem that they created. A 14-point memorandum of understanding, I love that term, memorandum of understanding, struck by negotiators proposes a ceasefire for 60 days while talks continue over Iran's nuclear program. Pezeshkian, and who is Pezeshkian? That would be the Iranian president, has been sending out repeated messages that Iran needs to be prepared for difficult economic times with inflation at 53.9% on an annualized basis. Bagay, and let's recall who that is. Bagay would be the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, not to be confused with the Deputy Foreign Minister, who is Garibabadi, and the actual Foreign Minister, who is Abbas Araghchi, okay? Pezeshkian has been sending out repeated messages that Iran needs to be prepared for difficult times. Bagay, the Foreign Ministry spokesperson, said on Monday there were no exchanges with the U.S. over the details of Tehran's nuclear program. We know when it is necessary to act on nuclear matters, he said. No negotiations have taken place on the details of the nuclear file. At this stage, our priority is ending the war. The latest exchange underscored the fragility of the ceasefire, which has been repeatedly tested by cross-border attacks, even as diplomats seek a broader settlement. Iran has maintained restrictions around the Strait of Hormuz throughout the conflict, while analysts say its missile campaign has inflicted significant damage on U.S. military infrastructure across the Middle East. Trump has said a key aim in the war was to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon with its highly enriched uranium. Tehran has consistently denied it had plans to do that, but I'm told by Larry Johnson and Pepe Escobar, they've been, they were apparently breaking the news that Iran is prepared to carry out a nuclear weapons test in order to deter, because we live in an age of nuclear deterrence. Look at North Korea. Countries that have nuclear weapons tend to not get fucked with so much, at least, by the United States, by the imperial system. So everyone's been saying Iran needs to get a nuke if they want to deter the Israelis and the Americans from attacking them. And lo and behold, it seems like that is starting to pan out. And I think about this dialectically, how Iran, it's always the dominant force that teaches the subordinate force, the subordinate aspect in this contradiction between a dominant force and a subordinate force. The dominant force always teaches the subordinate force how to competently contradict that dominant force. It's like the dominant force only understands one language, and it's the language of force, it's the language of escalation, it's the language of violence. And so Iran has had to adapt, and much like countries around the world who are faced with this same imperial imposition, they are forced to adapt and evolve and competently contradict the Americans. And as this goes on, what is Iran doing? They're adapting, they're evolving, they're escalating, they're coalescing, they're organizing against the dominant aspect in this contradiction, and I think that's what's happening. So, The president appears increasingly isolated as his military venture edges toward an outcome that many analysts view as a strategic setback. He is under pressure to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and get U.S. fuel costs down before the November congressional elections as voters show increasing frustration over rising gas prices. At the same time, he faces a potential backlash from Iran hawks in his own party over concessions to Tehran. And I would say he also faces Mossad blackmail and maybe even Mossad violence against him and his family. The two sides remain at odds on several other issues, such as Tehran's demands for the lifting of sanctions and the release of tens of billions of dollars of Iranian oil revenues that were frozen in foreign banks. So, continuing on. Are you still with me? This is the last part of this article. We hope you... Oh, never mind. We hope you appreciated this article. Okay, so they're just asking for some support. Whatever. Fuck you, Guardian. Let's move on now to... So, just to put this in perspective, we had Donald Trump tweeting about peace. He spoke to the... We know it's fake, but he says he spoke to Hezbollah. He spoke to Netanyahu. Netanyahu agreed to turn back his troops. That's quite a concession from Netanyahu, if it's true. And then, peace is, basically what I read into that is that Iran made this threat. They're suspending all peace talks. Trump panics, calls Netanyahu, shares this tweet about how they're backing off of Lebanon because that's part of the deal. They don't want to continue on with this war. And, well, we know what is Netanyahu going to do? Well, Netanyahu does what Netanyahu does. And I think within minutes of that, certainly within hours of Trump's tweet about peace with Lebanon, Nosferatu tweets out this, and it's not the full shit. Let me go to my bookmarks because I think I have it here. We'll find the full tweet from Nosferatu, who was not pleased, as you might expect. Of course, I don't think I can find it. Let's just go to this one. Actually, let's go to Netanyahu's Twitter, because I want to see the full tweet. Okay, here it is. It's from 5 hours ago. So it's within 2 hours. See, Trump makes this tweet 7 hours ago. Benjamin Netanyahu responds publicly 5 hours ago, 2 hours later. He says, "Tonight I spoke with President Trump and told him that if Hezbollah does not cease attacking our cities and citizens, Israel will attack terror targets in Beirut. This stance of ours remains unchanged. In parallel, the IDF will continue to operate as planned in southern Lebanon." So he's giving a big middle finger, a big fuck you to the President. And it seems that's, par for the course. And notwithstanding, he's also outflanked by his fellow Likudniks, speaking, of course, of Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, who, are always hardline, we have to occupy Lebanon, we got to escalate, we got to expand. He says, Ben-Gvir says that Mr. Prime Minister, he basically writes a little love letter to Mr. Prime Minister. Says, you said that a strong Prime Minister tells the President of the United States yes when possible and no when necessary. This is the time to tell our friend, President Trump, no. Now is the time to do what is required and necessary to strike Hezbollah, to unleash the hands of our fighters, and to restore security to the north. Itamar Ben-Gvir sounds a lot like another minister in the American government named Pete Hegseth. Unleash the full force of our brave fighters. That sounds a lot like Pete Kegsbreath, doesn't it? So, it's a lot of contradictions are taking place right now. And in light of all this seemingly almost like a lover's quarrel happening between Donald Trump and Satan Milikowski, there's this article from Axios. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Okay, you know what? Let's just do it like this. There, now we can see the whole thing. So the article says, "You're fucking crazy," and this is apparently a quote from Trump to Netanyahu in a call about Lebanon. And of course, they're going to paywall it, these fuckers. These sons of bitches. Let's see if we can go to archive. Allegedly. This is just standard practice. Okay, so he says, you're fucking crazy. So President Trump lashed out at Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over Israel's escalation, it says, in Lebanon in an expletive-laden call on Monday. 2 U.S. officials and a third source briefed on the call told Axios. So whenever these things get leaked, you always wonder, what's the political motivation for all of this? What's really going on behind the scenes? Was it leaked by the White House? We don't know. Is it real? Is it a lie? We just don't know. But let's just contend that maybe, let's just operate on the assumption that maybe this is true. So let's read. It says, earlier on Monday, Iran threatened to abandon the negotiations with the U.S. over Israelis' actions in Lebanon. On the call, Trump called Netanyahu crazy and accused him of ingratitude. According to 2 of the sources, he also put the brakes on Israel's plan to strike Beirut. Well, we'll see if that comes out to be true. One U.S. official said Trump told Nosferatu that following through on his threats to bomb the Lebanese capital would further isolate Israel around the world. And I wonder if it says, we'll just keep reading, but there's some crazy quotes in this thing. Like if he actually said this, it's like, Jesus, finally, some truth. 2 of the sources said Trump claimed he'd helped keep Netanyahu out of jail, a reference to his support during Netanyahu's corruption trial. Summarizing Trump's remarks to Netanyahu, the U.S. official said, "You're fucking crazy," quote, "you'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." A second source briefed on the call said Trump was pissed and at one point yelled at Netanyahu. "What the fuck are you doing?" he says, allegedly. The U.S. official said Trump knew Hezbollah had been shooting at Israel and that Israel needed to defend itself, but felt in recent days that Netanyahu was escalating in a disproportionate way. And just think about this, going back to Itamar Ben-Gvir's tweet, he said, "Now is the time, we must strike Hezbollah." It's true. They look at Trump as like this golden ticket. You know, if there's one thing I've learned about Israelis studying their historical record, they're always plotting, right? They're always waiting for an opportune moment to expand, to ratchet up the terrorism, to escalate, to commit more violence, and they do so politically, whenever there's a politically expedient time to do so, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And Donald Trump, you know, affords them that opportunity. So it's sort of like a once in a lifetime opportunity if you're Israelis, if you are the Israelis. And Netanyahu, we know, has been clamoring for a war with Iran. They're not going to stop now. I mean, this is the culmination of his career. So they're going to find any and every way to keep it going. So another U.S. official said Trump was concerned by the fact that Israel had killed so many civilians in Lebanon and objected to the Israelis knocking down buildings to take out a single Hezbollah commander. And of course, we know there's not a Hezbollah commander in these buildings. They're just there to implement their literal Dihaya doctrine. They're there to punish, humiliate, and terrorize the civilian population of Lebanon in order to break apart that society so that they can, you know, go in and occupy. And they say this, by the way. I'm pretty sure Ben-Gvir or Smotrich, one of them. So yeah, Ben-Gvir was like, "This is the only way we can win is if we have to go after their." He admitted we have to go after their civilian objects and their civilian infrastructure. We have to break them as a society. Just utter insanity, of course. So the state of play, it says, Israel no longer plans to strike Hezbollah targets in Beirut, an Israeli official told Axios. Between the lines, Trump and Netanyahu have several tense calls in the past, but still, that's true. It's not like this is the first time we've heard reports of Netanyahu and Trump supposedly getting into it on a phone call. But inevitably, they still coordinate closely on Iran and other issues. One official said this was one of Trump's worst calls with Netanyahu since he returned to office. Well, fuck, I'd hope so. Jesus. Look at what's at stake. Trump's anger appeared to be driven by the fact that Netanyahu's decision to escalate in Lebanon was threatening to implode his negotiations with Iran. After the call, Trump posted on Truth Social that the Iran talks were continuing at a rapid pace. Netanyahu released a statement after the call saying he told Trump that Israel would attack targets in Beirut if Hezbollah did not stop attacking Israel. We just read that. He says our positions remain the same. The memorandum, the U.S. and Iran are negotiating calls for an end to the fighting in Lebanon, sources tell Axios. That was the source of a previous tense call between Trump and Netanyahu. So pretty crazy stuff. I mean, some of these things that Trump is saying to Netanyahu are things that we're screaming, obviously, on social media. So it's a bit of an acknowledgement of what's actually taking place. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that that's a real leak? I mean, was that a real transcript of the phone call between Trump and Netanyahu? I guess it remains to be seen. One thing that I learned from Larry Johnson was that he learned on Friday through an intelligence source, I think within Iran or maybe within the U.S. government or somewhere, that Iran was planning to suspend the peace talks. And he's saying, look, lo and behold, Monday morning, what do we find out? That comes true. And this same source told Larry and Pepe Escobar that that Iran was planning to conduct this nuclear test, which is pretty crazy. I mean, not crazy, but you know, it's you know, judging by the veracity of the previous claim made by this intelligence source, you know, it lends more credibility to the claim that Iran might actually carry out a nuclear test. And perhaps they've already secured a nuclear weapon. This is what's being rumored about, that they acquired a nuclear weapon through a third country. I mean, that must be Russia, although we don't have confirmation of that, but probably Russia. I mean, could be Pakistan, could be other countries as well, but Russia seems to be the one that's most believable here. What's up, Saeed? Salute to you, my friend. How you doing today? Or this evening, I should say. Let's see if we have anything else I want to talk about concerning this. So this is from 3 hours ago. I don't think I've read this Truth Social tweet from Trump. So we went from 7 hours ago. We had the Trump peace tweet saying he coordinated with Hezbollah and Israel and there's going to be peace in Lebanon. Then Netanyahu fires back 5 hours ago saying that's bullshit, we're still attacking Lebanon. Now Donald Trump 3 hours ago says, I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu today asking him not to go into a major raid of Beirut, Lebanon. He turned his troops around. Thank you, Bibi, he says. I also had a conversation with representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah, and they agreed to stop shooting at Israel and its soldiers. Likewise, Israel agreed to stop shooting at them. Let's see how long that lasts. So he doesn't seem very confident. From 7 hours ago to now 3 hours ago, it's like you didn't get that vote of confidence from Israel, of course. We know that Israel's going to keep doing this. And it's just, they're inviting complete destruction, I think. It remains to be seen what Iran's going to do, but everybody's predicting that Iran will strike Israel. That's why they issued that evacuation order of northern Israel, or at least said that if Israel does what they say they're going to do, well, then we're going to retaliate against Israel. So we're all expecting within the next 24 hours another remix of Boom Boom Tel Aviv. And it might not be Tel Aviv. Maybe it's just in the north. I don't know. But I think one thing is certain. Israel is about to get touched. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think about what's happening. This shit is going off the rails. Let's get into our bookmarks here. See, this is from Netanyahu. He says it's an important update. I don't know if he's speaking Israeli or what. But let's take a look. Turn that down. Okay, got my headphones on. I'm ready to monitor the situation. Okay, yeah, he's speaking demon, so we can't understand what he's saying. I wish there was a translation, but there is not. Because we know whenever he speaks Hebrew, he's speaking to the Israelis, he's got a completely different message for them, and it's usually one of violence. Apparently, Hezbollah smoked another terrorist. Our condolences to the diaper soldier that got his shit pushed in. It sucks. It sucks to suck. I mean, really, if you think about it. Thank you. Dick Cheney's Oil Money back in business. Subscribed for 16 months strong. That is nice. That is nice and solid. Thank you, Dick Cheney, and your Oil Money for supporting this stream. All right, we're just going to go through the bookmarks. Let's see what they tell us. So I'm just going to go through some viral tweets here. It says Iran has masterfully played Trump. He has to bomb them to have any leverage in negotiations, but if he bombs them... Hey, thank you, Malagoat. I appreciate that. We're 13 months. That's crazy. Has it really been that long? My goodness. So he has to bomb them to have any... Hey, hype train, baby. All right. Everybody clap. Please clap. He has to bomb them to have any leverage in negotiations, but if he bombs them, oil goes sky high, markets tank. If he deals, he turns on Israel and loses every special interest donor that put him in office. He's kind of fucked, right? I mean, there's no way he can get out of that. Accord Lord, thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. Here's the American criminal justice system. It says, I sold some weed. That'll be 15 years in prison, sir. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is making billions in insider trading, and he gets a $200 fine for Trump. And this is what's being shared about. Donald Trump has been fined $200 after he was months late to report buying and selling millions in stock, according to the Washington Post. Rules for thee, not for me, thank you. There's the double standard for you little silly goys, in case you were ignorant of such a thing. Dr. Morandi says Iran's patience is running out. Mr. Ghalibaf, the what is he again? Fuck. He's the chief negotiator. I forget what his official position is. Forgive me. He says the naval blockade and escalation of war crimes in Lebanon by the genocidal Zionist regime are clear evidence of U.S. noncompliance with the ceasefire. Every choice has a price, and the bill comes due. It will all fall into place. Don't threaten me with a good time is all I can say. Here's a clip of Iran striking a cargo ship. Looks a lot like the USS Cole. You shall not pass. Breaking Israeli defense minister also is parroting what Ben-Gvir is saying and what Netanyahu is saying. He says there's no restrictions on our operations inside Lebanon. The ground operation in Lebanon is ongoing. So there you have it, you know. They're not stopping. And they're telling us all. Is it true that Trump spoke with Mr. Hezbollah? No. That's what that's what's being said. I have a hard time saying I have a hard time agreeing that that's true. I don't think that that's what happened. That came from Trump himself. So Larry Johnson also doesn't believe that's true. There's the Netanyahu tweet that I was looking for earlier. Let's see. Trump says talks are continuing at a rapid pace. We knew that already. Let's see. Here's from Max Blumenthal. Drone heard at Beaufort. So remember, Beaufort Castle is in Lebanon. Let's just read what he has to say. I want to say Beaufort Castle was destroyed. Holy moly, Colonel Joe Moore, thank you so much for that incredible donation of 10 gifted subscriptions to the community. I appreciate that. Your patronage is very much appreciated. So isn't Beaufort Castle like completely destroyed? Do I have that right? It says Israeli recon teams have been getting hammered by resistance FPV drones over the past 24 hours since they planted a flag at Beaufort Castle. So maybe it's not destroyed, but they've apparently captured it. Allegedly. It says one is dead, several are wounded, and more carnage on the way. Beaufort is also the title of an Oscar-nominated Israeli shooting and crying film. I like how Max Blumenthal. Hey, thank you, Raven. I appreciate that. You guys are showing up for me today, and that's big. It's big time. Thank you for the subscription. And thank you for being a wonderful moderator in addition to that. So it says, Beaufort is also the title of an Oscar-nominated Israeli shooting and crying film, because that's what they love to do. They shoot and then they cry as they shoot, and then they cry some more, and then they cry harder about it. That dramatizes the IDF's agonizing collapse under relentless Hezbollah pressure at the 12th century fortress that they'd occupied just before they withdrew in 2000. History repeats. They have a history of withdrawing, don't they? I mean, don't start wars that you can't finish, Israel. It's fun. Thank you, Colonel Joe. Wow, you gifted 10 before even following me. That's impressive. Thanks for the follow. All right, so let's see. This is some drone footage approaching Beaufort Castle. It's all the way in the bottom. You can't see it. It says it's playing. Oh, it's playing picture-in-picture. Not bad. Oopsie doodle. Here it is once more. Now you can see it. All right, we got some Arabic writing. I don't understand what's said. We read it from right to left. I do know that. Here it is, the approach of Beaufort Castle. Doesn't look like much of a castle. Love the video game music. All right, Colonel Joe. Uh-oh. Got him. Got him. And then that's responding to this clip of Netanyahu. He says, sorry, trigger warning. Sorry about this. He's speaking Hebrew, so there actually is an English subtitle. I'll read it and said, so you don't have to listen to this demon hiss. It says, last night our heroic fighters captured the Beaufort Castle. They proudly raised the flag of the State of Israel and the flag of the Golani Brigade there. I remind you that 44 years ago, this place was a symbol of a heroic battle by our fighters. But it was also, 44 years ago, that'd be 1982, right? That'd be 1982, 44 years ago. Now, what happened in 1982? Oh, that's right. Israel started a war with Lebanon by bombing a Palestinian children's hospital. Why is there a Palestinian children's hospital in Lebanon? Well, could have something to do with the Israeli occupation of Palestine. Why were most of the PLO leadership located in Beirut, in Lebanon? Well, that's because they were in exile because of the Israeli occupation of Palestine. So he's admitting they lost a war. How anti-Semitic. Today we return to Beaufort. Differently, he says. We returned united. It's sort of the language of Ariel Sharon in the 60s when they reoccupied the Gaza Strip, the Sinai Peninsula, parts of Syria, and obviously the Golan Heights. And they said, finally, we got back. We had to shamelessly and shamefully be humiliated in 1957 when we had to vacate and withdraw at the behest of the Americans. And today we come back. Well, this is the same sort of story. We come back to Lebanon proudly, Stronger than ever, he says. I spoke with the fighters on the northern border on Friday. You've also been sending out your condolences to a lot of the fighters that have been dropping like flies at FPV drones operated by Hezbollah. Prime Minister, the public doesn't know what achievements we have made, he says that they said. Well, since the beginning of the War of Redemption, we have eliminated 8,000 Hezbollah terrorists, in other words, 8,000 Lebanese civilians. Since Operation Roaring Lion, he continues, 3,000. In the past month alone, 700. He's so giddy about death. I have instructed the IDF to expand the incursion in Lebanon. Our forces have crossed the Litani River. They took dominant terrain. They captured the Beaufort Ridge. And now my instruction is to deepen and expand our hold on places that were under Hezbollah's control. The capture of Beaufort is a dramatic stage and a dramatic change. We are leading. We have broken the barrier of fear. We are taking the initiative. We are operating on all fronts, he says, in Syria, in Gaza, in Lebanon. They never say Palestine, do they? Never mention Palestine. The language of occupation. The language of sanitation of occupation. He says they're protecting their communities on Friday. The brigade is filled with commanding leaders, heroic soldiers. They told me, Prime Minister, we are carrying out the mission. We are charging forward. And Hezbollah is fleeing for its life. And I told them, I am with you. The entire nation of Israel is with you. It will take more time, but we will restore security to the residents of the north. It will take time, but we will complete the mission. Sure thing, Satan. Oh, can't show you that. Bloody, dismembered children. Sorry. Not sorry, because that's what's happening. But if I would show you the pictures, if it didn't violate community guidelines, they'll ban me. But just crazy shit, man. All right, let's go back to the bookmarks. So, as we covered, Itamar Ben-Gvir saying now is the time to do what is necessary and continue striking Hezbollah. Here is a clip of Israel committing another massacre near a hospital in Tyre, Lebanon, a short while ago.
وهذا الموقف ولعت السيارات بكل الموقف والشباب عم يطفون الدفاع المدني. ماشي الحمد لله كلياتنا بخير وكل شيء تمام. كتر خير الله الحمد لله.
Jesus. I want to look up Beaufort Castle. That doesn't sound very Lebanese to me. Sounds French. How old is the Beaufort Castle? Or the Belfort? Also, this could be Irish. Maybe. It's a Crusader fortress in Nabatea Governorate, southern Lebanon. There was a fortification on the site before it was captured by the King of Jerusalem in 1139. How old is it? It was built in the 12th century. Okay. I mean, it's not really much. I mean, it must have been destroyed. Look at it. Maybe it was destroyed a long time ago. I'm not sure. Again, I'm ignorant when it comes to this shit. I'm just trying to learn. There it is. This is a recent picture. This is from 2026, probably from this month. Probably from this week or last week. All right. So that was part of the Crusades. The Crusades were a series of military campaigns launched by the papacy between 1095 and 1291 against Muslim rulers for the recovery and defense of the Holy Land. Okay, let's move now back to, we're going to get to your Discord links as well soon here. All right, let's go through some memes. It says the human race is going to have its first trillionaire before everyone has clean drinking water. Let that sink in. We're a complete failure as a species. Sometimes you just read statements and it just guts you, and that one gutted me. Here's MAGA patriot saying, I can't afford food, housing, or health care. Please help. Trump says, fuck off. Netanyahu says, give me $100 billion. Donald Trump says, yes, boss. Thank you for that follow. Buried in Israel Hayams, that's a Israeli media publication. It says, this is from Max Blumenthal, buried in Israel Hayam's piece, hyping outgoing Mossad director David Barnea and his Iran regime change branch is confirmation that CIA director and former AIPAC-backed Congressman John Ratcliffe colluded with the Mossad to convince Trump to attack Iran. So, and it's a link to, or it's a picture of part of the article. It says a lethal combination. The U.S. CIA was already aware of the Mossad's plan and supported, and it was the CIA that helped Barnea persuade Trump as well. Remember Jeffrey Sachs saying, Tucker Carlson asks Jeffrey Sachs, has there ever, what president did control the CIA? He says there's been no president that has ever controlled the CIA. And a lot of people say, with good reason, that the CIA, and if we say the CIA, we got to say the Mossad as well, because they're joined at the hip. The CIA and the Mossad are their own shadow government. They actually run the show. It's hard to disagree with that assessment. I was not present in that conversation, but I very much doubt that Barnea promised Trump the regime would fall during the war. O says, when asked about it this week, I don't know who O is. I guess that's an anonymous source, maybe. No intelligent person really thinks that immediately after you finish bombing, the regime falls. It does not work that way. Yeah. The new revelation by a top official in the Mossad's Iran regime change branch corroborates the Gray Zone's report from June 25 on CIA Director Ratcliffe functioning as the Mossad stenographer. Just writes down whatever the Mossad says, whatever Mossad wants, Mossad gets. So CIA Director John Ratcliffe was essentially the Mossad stenographer inside the White House. And there's a link to that article. We won't go into it, but we're going to keep moving on. This is a tweet from Donald Trump yesterday. It says, Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us. But don't the Democrats and various seemingly unpatriotic Republicans, oh, that's a big cope, Mr. President, alluding to the fact that most people, and whether they're Democrats or Republicans, oppose this war. Don't the Democrats and the unpatriotic Republicans understand that it is much tougher for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political hacks keep negatively chirping at levels never seen before over and over again that I should move faster or move slower or go to war or not go to war or whatever? Just sit back and relax, he says. Everything's going to work out well in the end. Sounds like he's feeling the heat, doesn't it? He's like, I'm catching it from all sides. Excuse me. What a cunt. I agree. Here's a good thought for you. Just a good question. If capitalism is so great, why do corporations need tax breaks, subsidies, exemptions, grants, bailouts, legal protections, and trade barriers to survive? And not only that, to thrive. And when ordinary people ask for help, why is that suddenly called socialism? It's a very good point. Very good question. So here is that fake story. We should just note in passing that alleged that Iran's President Pezeshkian submitted an official letter of resignation to the office of the supreme leader. And let's see what it says. In the letter, Pezeshkian stressed that the president and the government have effectively been excluded from major decision-making processes in the country, and the IRGC has taken control of affairs. Pezeshkian added that under such circumstances, he is unable to run the government and carry out his legal responsibilities, and for that reason has requested to step down immediately. It is not clear whether Khomeini will accept the president's resignation. Of course, this is a spurious report. Dr. Morandi calls it out, says it's fake news, part of the information war. These people should be drawn and quartered for lying through their teeth. PSYOP after PSYOP. It says in the community note, readers added context. Excuse me, I got a little burpty burp. It's all that soda water. It says Iran International reported, citing an anonymous source, that Pezeshkian submitted a resignation letter. Iranian officials have denied the report, stating that it has nothing to do with the reality and that he continues his duties. So there you go. Big fat lie. Don't fall for it. This is a crazy story from Polymarket. It says, just in, New York Police Department is investigating after CCTV video reportedly showed several people climbing out of a Brooklyn manhole around 2 a.m. Jeez. Several people, I wonder who it could be. Was it the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Suspicious activity located near Brooklyn manholes. Requesting backup. It's just a Jewish tradition, guys. It's not illegal to climb out of manholes at 2 in the morning. What's the big deal? They were just proselytizing. Here is Suleiman Ahmed. You guys got to follow this guy. I listen to him constantly. He's so tapped in, so well informed, and he has a great show, and he's got such superb guests on all the time. He does a lot of the work for me, you know. As I log on, I'm like, or before I do, I always check in with Suleiman, see what he's reporting, because he's dialed in, as they say. And this is from Iran's foreign minister spokesperson, Bagay, as we learned earlier. It says a ceasefire in Lebanon is an inseparable part of any ceasefire and any final agreement to end the war. So they consider strikes against Lebanon a red line, as we know, and that's probably the main reason why they have made this evacuation order for the northern part of Israel, and they are intent on retaliating against Israel for its strikes against Lebanon. It is not only the Zionist regime that is committing widespread violations of the ceasefire in this manner. America, too, in our region, is committing violations of the ceasefire. He says, we will not hesitate to take any action we deem necessary to defend the national security of Iran and to defend a situation that we believe provides and guarantees the security of Iran and the security of the region. Thank you, Michael. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles devolves the super chat, or deserves. Is that what you meant to say? I agree. And I didn't come up with that, okay? That was just the meme that was shown in the comments. You know, you always look at the comment section. They're always so insightful as to what the real story is. So, you know, the internet always wins. All right, let's take a look at this clip. Okay. He's speaking Persian. I mean, speaking Farsi, so we got the gist of it. Syrian girl is telling us that this is what happens when you live next door to a terrorist organization called Israel. Let's take a look. Jesus Christ. Another day and another war crime or four. Where do I see the future of the planet in the next 10 to 20 years? The optimist in me foresees a world of multipolarity. I see the rise of China. I see China getting stronger. And if China gets stronger, I think the antidote to the U.S. empire, to imperial capitalism, gets stronger. And the Americans and the Israelis are getting weaker and weaker by the day. That's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing an acceleration of the multipolar moment, and the unipolar moment of world history is over. It's done. Put a nail in the coffin, because that's where we're at. And I think that's why Trump is in office. He's presiding over the acceleration of this historical event. And he's put there because the ruling elites, the Epstein class, whatever you want to call it, they are desperate to cling to power. And so they can't stop these policies, because these policies are what enrich them and allow them to retain their power. So they need a demagogue like President Trump, who can, who's got this cult of personality and can convince a lot of Americans, dupe a lot of Americans into continuing this charade. But it's so untethered from the material world, I mean, the Trump administration and its policies are so untethered from the material world that it's just that Trump is cashing in. It's the final cash in on the status of empire and all of the policies that allowed the empire to persist. And that I think that's what's happening. But I think things are going to get a lot worse in the short term, because it's a violent time. We're seeing the changing of the guard. It's violence. It's the usurpation of the dominant hierarchical system, and it just proves that you have to wrest power from those that have power. They're not going to give it up willingly, and they're going to double down, and they're going to use every tactic in the book to control their wealth and their resources. And I think in the short term, that just means that there's going to be an escalation of violence. I mean, there already has been, and like Larry Wilkerson put it, I saw a podcast of him a couple days ago, and he's so on point. I love that guy. I hope to interview him one day, because I feel like we'd have a really good discussion. But he definitely made that same point that I do, perhaps more eloquently, that when there's war, there's also more violence on the periphery. There's violence in places that aren't necessarily tied to the direct confrontation that's happening in the Middle East. And, you see more assassinations. You see more, Charlie Kirks and more, escalation in domestic, the domestic cities of America, for example. You see ICE ramping up its terrorism. So more things are going to escalate, I think. But I think if you zoom out, we see the emergence of a new world order, and its violence is in the forecast. Like the weather forecast is just violence for the foreseeable future. But, like to your question, I'm still trying to answer it. 10 to 20 years from now, I see a completely different world than the one that we're living in. And I think hopefully a better one. But it's not just going to happen inevitably. It's going to take a lot of effort. I do agree with that. And I think it's important that we keep on it. We got to keep up the pressure. And I'm just trying to do my small part here. I'm just trying to share what I know, educate people, because that's part of the process. Here's a clip from, I guess, CNN. It's New York Times report claims Trump has profited $1.4 billion from the presidency. It's just case in point, what we were just talking about. He's cashing in. Thank you, Jay Jax, for gifting a Tier 1 subscription to Flowers and Stones. And thank you for being such a wonderful moderator as well. Even though you are Australian, and we typically don't like Australians, we make an exception for you. However, that notwithstanding, we were just talking about how Trump is just here to enrich himself. I mean, that's really cynically, narcissistically, that's all this really is about for Donald Trump. I mean, he's got a very limited, narrow range of concerns, if you can call it that. And it's it's limited to himself and his family and his crony friends. So they're raping the public coffers, for lack of a more eloquent way to put it. All right, I'm gonna play this clip.
A second. $1.4 billion. That is what the New York Times puts.
This would be a good article to read. How Trump has pocketed $1.4 billion since becoming president.
How much Trump has profited thus far from.
And then, that's just the free market doing its thing. It just so happens that his policy of concern for Americans and national security and the public interests of the people that put him in power, it just conveniently coincides with him enriching himself. That's all.
The presidency. There's no question. You can look at his net worth, how much it has increased dramatically.
And decreased
just
over time.
In the time that he has been president.
You only talk about the decreases.
Yeah, because it has increased. Yes.
Oh my God! People are like defending. Well, no, but Trump deserves that money. But
also, year alone,
it's only 1.4. It could have been 2.4. It could have been more, right?
Trump has made more money than he made in his entire life.
That's right. A second. $1.4 billion. That is what the New York Times puts how much Trump.
It's a crazy story. The body, remember these missing scientists? Nobody knows what happened. They're just dropping like flies. Apparently one of them was discovered, a lady named Melissa Mondragon Cassius. Probably butchered that name, but Melissa was found in New Mexico. And she had been missing since last June after failing to arrive at work. She suspiciously left her house without her phone, wallet, or keys. Jesus. Her death is still under investigation. This is like an ongoing story with the disappearance of all these nuclear scientists.
Good evening, New Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us here at 10 o'clock. Well, an almost year-long missing persons case has been solved, but now there are plenty of new questions. New Mexico State Police found remains near Taos, and after an investigation, state police then determined they were
It's like not far from Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico ranch.
The remains of missing Los Alamos National Laboratory worker Melissa Casillas. NMSP says they found the remains of Casillas in the McGaffey Ridge area of the Carson National Forest.
So on Epstein's property. No, just kidding.
That ridge is not too far away from where Casillas was last seen. Investigators say a handgun was found next to her body. State police added, though, that the cause and the manner of her death are still under investigation. Now, last year,
she was shot 4 times in the back of the head and what was obviously a suicide attempt.
His daughter came home from work on June 26th to find her mother was missing. She was last spotted on surveillance video that same day walking down a road in Taos County carrying a backpack. But she had, according to reports, left her purse and a phone at home, and that phone had also been factory reset. Now, finding Casillas then became a topic of national discussion.
Wow, that's convenient. She just so happened to factory reset her phone just before she...
When the circumstances behind her disappearance started to match similar missing persons cases, including retired Air Force Major General William McCaslin, who went missing back in February.
They're silencing the dissenters inside the military-industrial complex, y'all.
And then there's also Stephen Garcia. He was last seen in late August of last year. He worked at the Albuquerque branch of Kansas City National Security Campus. And then Anthony Chavez was retired when he disappeared in May of 2025. But he had also previously worked as a staffer over at Lanel, according to multiple reports. Police had previously stated that both McCaslin and Garcia are believed to have taken guns with them when they disappeared. But there have been relatively few updates since then on where they could be.
One of y'all asked a good question, like yeah, Lee, good question. What was her field?
Good evening,
doesn't really tell you, huh? Let's see, Melissa Cassius. The hiker discovered remains of Melissa Cassius, a 53-year-old employee of the Los Alamos National Laboratory. were found on May 28th, 2026 in the Carson National Forest in New Mexico. She had been missing since June 26th, 2025, when she disappeared after leaving her family. That was right around the 12-Day War last year. Interesting. Authorities and the Office of the Medical Investigator have positively identified her, though the cause and manner of death are still being investigated. A handgun was found alongside her remains. Because her case has been widely followed, often drawing comparisons to other missing persons, her family and New Mexico State Police continue to piece together, okay, but what did she do? What was her... She was just a lab worker? Are we not supposed to know? All they say is that she was a lab worker. Let's see if maybe AI can tell us. What was Melissa Cassius's field of expertise? Melissa Cassius specialized in administrative and government administration support. Okay, cool. So great non-answer, AI. She worked as an administrative assistant. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? Previously served as an executive administrative assistant for finance, administration, and government relations. They tell you what she was, but they don't tell you what she is. It's weird. This is from 5 minutes ago. BBC. Missing lab worker found dead after a year of disappearing. They don't tell you, man. They just say administrative assistant. I just wonder, what was Israel up to on that day? June 25th, 2025. What was going? What, everybody look at Israel. Israel, what did you do? The conspiracy theory grouped together several so-called missing scientists, including a retired Air Force general, an engineer, and a custodian. They worked in a range of fields, from pharmaceutical to space research, and included an MIT physics professor whose murder by a former classmate was widely reported by national and international media. Interest in the missing scientists reached such a fever pitch that the U.S. House of Representatives Oversight Committee and the FBI announced investigations into the cases. U.S. President Donald Trump also weighed in, calling the disappearances and deaths pretty serious stuff. Family members have unsuccessfully tried to dispel the rumors with details about the deaths. One researcher died of heart disease, while another died in an apparent suicide. Oh my God, of course, after his wife said he was distraught when both of his parents died suddenly within hours of each other. In the case of Carl Grillmayer, a neighbor is facing murder and burglary charges. I think it's absolute nonsense, his widow previously told the BBC when asked about the speculation. I mean, there's the facts and they're out there. This is from December 2025. Brown University and MIT professor shooting suspect found dead. The suspect in last week's mass shooting at Brown University has been found dead in a storage facility in Salem. Jesus Christ, like Hannibal Lecter. Keeping dead bodies in his storage facility. Following a 6-day multi-state manhunt, police say. They identified the suspect as Claudia, so it's the about 20 minutes what the original said about the initial findings suggest. So that was the suspect, though. So, I don't know. Weird stuff. Weird stuff happening. Only one G matters, says Saeed. The J's G. The J's G? Who's G? And who's the J? I call them not. I don't call them Jews. I call them joys.
In
Wait, here we go.
Bosnia.
No, to Jews. It must never happen again to Jews. What do I give a shit about the other places? Listen, genocide can happen again if we're not vigilant. It must never happen again.
It has happened again.
What are you talking about?
Genocide in Rwanda, Cambodia, Bosnia.
No, to Jews. It must never happen again to Jews. What do I give a shit about the other places? Listen, genocide can happen again if we're not vigilant.
This is a real scene from Weeds. Shane points out that genocides have occurred in places such as Rwanda, Cambodia, and Bosnia after the Holocaust. His uncle responds, yeah. I can't believe that's actually a real... I mean, it just calls to my mind that, like, everything that we watch, all these shows are written by Zionists. And I have to tell you, I watched the season finale of Jewphoria against my will last night, and it was rife with Zionist propaganda, as every episode seems to be. And they were talking about how the Old Testament was really just a great book, and they were defending like all the depraved shit. And that was a constant theme throughout that season. They were talking about the Israelites and how they needed to do what they did thousands of years ago. They had to do depraved barbarism. And they just drop. I mean, they don't say Zionists, but they did say Israelites. They did say that word. But they're always talking about the first Bible was really the real Bible, the one where God was vengeful, and there was all kinds of, depraved acts. That was all justified. I mean, I'm not a biblical historian, okay, so forgive me, but that's pretty suspect, given everything that we know, and we know everything is political, especially our art and entertainment. Of course. It's pervasive. All right, let's move on. Thank you for that link, Saeed. Let's go to...
This is an anti-video game.
Bad Empanada. He's been extremely based as of late. Let's see what he's talking about here. This is from one of our chatters. Thank you for the link.
This is an anti-video games, anti-anime, anti-superhero movie channel. We're also anti-Taylor Swift, anti-K-pop. Basically, we're anti-anything that you like here. There is a man who is much better at this sort of hatred than I am. And he is the leader of a political party in the US now. And I just wanted to go over some of the Infrared Has classics on this matter because he was before his time. This, I think, is one of the greatest tweets ever. And I find it crazy that Infrared Has is capable of something like this because I don't even think he's joking. That's the thing. I think that Infrared Has could be a really good comedian, a really good one of the best. But then I also think he's not joking because politically he's indiscernible from the times where it seems like he's joking. His overall politics, it just seems like this is what he believes. And I mean, fair. I believe this as well. Honestly, I'm with you now, dude. I'm with you. I want to talk to you all about the...
Why doesn't he tell us? What is it? Haas says, do gaming addicts deserve prison? It's very possible. Video games are the reason for many social ills. Eventually will come the time of cruel awakening when holy men wield hammers and bust into homes, smashing gaming PCs. Even GameCube will be smashed. Yeah, it's a little bit of a satire joke, right? It seems like a cultural thing.
Holy men with hammers. Have you heard of Saint Infrahaz? Haz al-Din? I'm going to read this to you. I love it. It's fantastic. He's so good. Do gaming addicts deserve prison? It's very possible. Video games are the reason for many social ills. Eventually will come the time of cruel awakening when holy men wield hammers and bust into homes, smashing gaming PCs and Nintendo console. Even GameCube will be smashed. My God. This is it's handcrafted.
Why is he talking about this, It's who cares? Who gives a shit?
There's no way this isn't intentional. Little idiosyncrasies to it. Eventually will come the time.
I think it's a big nothing burger. I hate that expression, but I gotta say it.
This was awesome. Foreign Christians sought forgiveness for insufficient support of Israel.
Korean government will stand. with Israel.
Forgive us for all the things that we did that we did not support Israel.
Forgive the nation of Korea who spoken the word against Israel.
Oh my God, what is going on, dude?
Okay. Moving on. Bad Hasbro is taxing the rich a hate crime.
I want to do our famous section. It's time to center Jews for a minute in a little section that we like to call Bad for the Jews.
Oh, no.
Bad, bad.
Oh, shit. I love these guys.
That was incredible.
That was good.
Thank you. I want to talk a little bit about this guy, Steve Roth. Steve Roth is the founder of something called Vornado Realty Trust. This is the largest commercial landlord in New York. And,
oh, yeah, I see Vornado fucking signs everywhere in Brooklyn and Manhattan.
Yes.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Vornado.
Vornado.
Yeah, it's like tornado with a V.
Vornado warning.
If I heard that out of context, I would assume it's something much different.
Yeah,
But
Vornado does
from a different
sound,
part of the internet.
Yeah, yeah, it does sound like something in an incognito window. Way to name your company something Lex Luthor would found. That's true. He also, it's a real estate trust that owns 7 multi-million-dollar properties in New York.
Holy moly!
He is.
What in the tarnation? Are you laughing at me? Why? Because I said tarnation? Somebody gifted 50 subscriptions anonymously to the Twitch stream. What am I... If there's ever a time to use that word, tarnation, I mean, is it not the perfect opportunity? Apparently my girlfriend's taking credit for the 50 gifted because it was anonymous. But I think we know better, okay? I think we know what's going on here. Thank you to not Saeed, because it was definitely not him, all right? Saeed says, thank you, Comrade Batty. That was really... She's taking credit for your work there, Saeed. But you know, you're so humble, you're so egalitarian, you're so modest. You allow her to take the credit, and that's really nice. But we do appreciate, as always, your sustained, consistent support of what we do. I am most humbled. I'm here for Saeed. That's the one person that I stream for. I stream to. Yes, great pause. I'm doing a wonderful job pausing. I am the champion of pause. No one pauses better than me.
Funded the Roth Center for Jewish Life at Dartmouth College, and he hates Mamdani. It's his big thing is hating the new mayor. And he said something recently on, what was it, a podcast or, whatever it was, an interview that I can only describe as bad for the Jews. This is Steve Roth. So it was during an investor call. Thank you, Adam. During an investor call, he said this, Steve Roth. And I'm going to play that for you right now.
I must say that I consider the phrase tax the rich, quote, tax the rich, but spit out with anger and contempt by politicians both here and across the country to be just as hateful as some disgusting racial slurs and even the phrase...
This motherfucker just said taxing the rich is equivalent to racial slurs.
From the river to the sea.
Even the phrase.
No, it's this fucking dude that they're reacting to on this stream.
Wow.
That's,
he really
I
upped the ante with that one.
He's putting it above racial slurs.
Yeah.
As far as offensiveness from the hierarchy goes, tax the rich and racial slurs, but then above that, the worst.
Won't someone please think of the rich Jews?
First of all, is from the river to the sea. Makes figures.
The crazy thing about it is it's like...
We know, you guys, when you guys, when you say tax the rich, you really want to say tax the Jews. Let's just go ahead and say it, all right? You anti-Semitic pieces of shit.
Like, it starts off with, kind of like...
please, don't say that too loud, actually.
This normal, idiotic opinion. You're like, tax the rich. Well, that's racism against rich people.
Racism.
But then he
against
moves
rich people.
on to be.
Obviously, rich is a race. It sort of fits neatly within that that myth of primitive accumulation that capitalists love to promote, which is that, you know, might makes right. Everything that is as it should be. If the people that are rich, they obviously are that by, you know, by birth. It's literally genetical. That's how they got their wealth.
You're like, no.
So it is racist.
Not just rich people. Who are rich people? The Jews. This dude is literally saying tax the rich is like From River to the Sea because both of them are, you know, anti-Jewish somehow. How is that not him?
Also, that's a big tell, right? Because that dude's actually promoting an anti-Semitic trope that all the Jays are rich. All they control all the wealth and et cetera, et cetera. Well, when we say tax the rich and you think in your head that's tax the Jews, aren't you promoting an anti-Semitic trope? How anti-Semitic of you.
Doing anti-Semitism straight up.
And that's what
Explain it.
that's what Xavier was saying too. He's like, you guys are just mad that Jewish people are rich and you're broke. That's really anti-Semitic.
That is straight.
He was doing anti-Semitism. Everyone's in our comments like, "Oh, we're being anti-Semitic," but like, no,
guys, stop pocket watching the coin clipping class of grabblers.
What he was doing.
It's very anti-Semitic.
Come on.
Yeah, it's an ugly stereotype, and we don't appreciate that.
Yeah,
I mean, but if you actually look at it through his lens, there is so much unrecognized anti-Semitism in our culture.
That's
you know,
so
like
true.
the song "Who Stole the Cookie from the Cookie Jar."
Yeah.
That's a fucking
who did
anti-Jewish
steal the
creed. Jew stole the cookies from the cookie jar.
Jews.
That's the implication. I mean, it even rhymes.
You give
But,
a mouse
you
a cookie, and the next thing they want the West Bank.
Mouse, have you ever
Art
had a bar
Spiegelman.
mitzvah? Ever read Art Spiegelman, the comic book about the Holocaust? Mice were the Jews. You give a
Yeah.
mouse.
That's right.
An
Yeah.
American
Who exactly
Tale.
was Robin Hood stealing from?
No, that's a good
Yeah,
question.
that's a very good point. Yeah.
Robin Hood was anti-Semitic. He stole from the rich.
And who was on Robin Hood's side? Friar Tuck, the Christians. The
Wow.
Christians are getting together and stealing from the rich and giving to the, I don't know what other animals were in it. I've only seen
Jesse James, another anti-Semite, right? He robbed banks. Think about that. A gangster robs from a bankster, and that's anti-Semitic. But a bankster robbing from a gangster, that's just good old-fashioned freedom and democracy, folks.
Robin Hood, the cartoon from Disney.
Is there another one?
Yeah, it's like a
I don't
book
think so.
from a long time ago.
Yeah, there's that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where they get transformed by Q into the cast of Robin Hood, and Worf says, "Captain, I object. I am not a merry man." That's my childhood. That's how old I am.
That's great. That's great. That's his Homestar Runner.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
See, Worf is like strong bad.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Now
not getting all these cultural references. I guess I'm not cool.
I get it.
Yeah,
Matt, you truly are the generational bridge.
I am. I'm
You are.
here.
You're in this bridge generation that can speak to Gen X, can speak to millennials.
Yeah. Well, I'm millennial.
I know, but
I'm an elder.
you're
Gen
at the
Z.
upper echelon.
I'm Gen Alpha.
Are you
He's
Gen
the millennial whisperer.
Alpha for real?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I was gonna be like, damn. It's like, isn't that a baby? I don't even know anymore, man. But yeah, it is absolutely insane to be on the record at an investor call and just be like, whenever I hear tax the rich, all I hear is Jews out, but in German. So that's the level of anti-Semitism that we are
Yes.
dealing with. Wow,
That's how you realize that there is no such thing as anti-Semitism. To the extent that it is a problem in our society. I mean, they reach so far. They don't pull your back out with that reach, performing all these mental gymnastics to try to paint themselves and center themselves as the victims, of course. So yeah, in case you didn't know, taxing the rich is a hate crime.
Across the Litani River. Denmark's ambassador to the United Nations has called it a dangerous escalation and condemned Israel's offensive.
While Israel has the right to self-defense, this must be exercised in accordance with international law.
Wrong. Danish ambassador. Israel has no right to self-defense. States that committed genocide have their statehood revoked. And you can't defend occupied land.
We call for full respect for Lebanon's sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. This includes withdrawing Israeli forces from South Lebanon. We also reiterate our strong condemnation of Hezbollah's continued attacks against Israel and underline that these attacks must stop immediately. All parties must respect the ceasefire. We continue to support the direct talks between Israel and Lebanon and hope that they can pave the way for lasting peace.
Denton, you can't say that. You can't say 109 countries, that's anti-Semitic. That's basically Nazi propaganda, is what we're told. I know that because a lot of Jewish supremacists tell me this. They say that if you subscribe to any version of history that doesn't comport with the Zionist version, that's basically Nazi propaganda. They also say that using the word that the Jays invented to describe all non-Jays, the word goy, they say that that's also, if you use that word, there's a very big debate happening that using the word goy or goyim is basically you were branded as a Nazi at that point. And yeah, that's right, Martin. That was the Danish ambassador. You are in Denmark, and there is something rotten in the state of Denmark, and I believe it's that bitch that was just speaking. But that's just, I mean, I have to call bullshit on that, you know? Using the words that they came up to describe us back at them is not Nazi propaganda, okay? You know, the same people that say this also then hop in their Volkswagen and, you know, go ride about the city. I mean, you know, it's like, the point is like, what isn't Nazi propaganda apparently, you know? Do people that ride, that own Volkswagen Beetles, are they Nazi propagandists? That's the Germans' people's car. That was invented by Nazis. Aren't you promoting Nazism if you drive a Volkswagen Beetle? I'm just saying. I can't stand tone policing. Yes, indeed, Saeed is here with another based comment. I'm not going to read it aloud because I'll be arrested. But, yeah. Yep. They had one job, didn't they? Create a safe space for the Jays. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
All right, Al Jazeera's Gabriel Elizondo is live for us at the UN headquarters in New York. So, Gabe, what's been said inside the Security Council chamber thus far?
You know, I would agree with that, 420. We should take that and apply it to the Cybertruck. Now, that is more accurate.
Yeah, that's right. This meeting has just concluded in the last few minutes. It was a long meeting. We monitored every single minute of it. And I think the consensus was what you just heard from Denmark's ambassador was clearly the consensus by the vast majority of council members, one after another, condemning Israel's incursion and occupation in Lebanon and its violation of Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We even heard that from the UN briefer as well, a top UN political affairs official, Assistant Secretary General, saying that Israel's actions must stop in Lebanon, saying that it is also a clear violation of UN Security Council's Resolution 1701. Now,
not in violation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701. Oh, damn it. Fuck.
of course, called for this emergency meeting. They are the pen holder of the Lebanon file on the Security Council, which essentially means they are in charge of any issues related to Lebanon when it comes to the council. The French ambassador very clearly saying that, of course, Israel has the right to defend itself, something that we hear over and over again. But the French ambassador said that
yes, Israel has the right to defend itself, but we don't like the way they're doing it. Can they stop, please? I have a very harshly worded letter I'd like to read everyone now about how Israel has the right to defend itself, of course, and I'm not being anti-Semitic, but can they stop maybe committing crimes against humanity just like for a little bit, please?
This country flatly rejects any actions by Israel that of occupation of any territory of Lebanon or even the buffer zone, if you will. So that is what we heard over and over again. Now,
in addition to my harshly worded letter, I also have a strongly worded letter and a tweet to accompany the letter. If you just give me if the Security Council will just allow me some time.
Now, the U.S. ambassador to the UN took a different approach. He said, and I'm just going to read you exactly what he said. He said, the path is clear. Hezbollah must stop attacking Israel. The Lebanese armed forces and the legitimate government of Lebanon must assert their control over Lebanese territory, and Iran stop using Lebanon as a forward operating base. So the U.S. pivoting all of this to Iran.
Yeah.
So, Gabe,
I'm rubber, you're glue, says the U.S. Okay, another Goy Slop video from Corey Gill Schuster. This guy loves to go around. He plays both sides. He goes around and asks the Israelis on the demons on the street. You know, they do the man on the street. Well, in Israel, it's the demons on the street. Ask them questions. This one says, do you care that the world doesn't support Israel? I have a feeling I know the answer to that. It's baked into their DNA.
You look at it, I would say that the world stopped supporting Israel. Do you care that the world stopped supporting Israel? Well, depends how you look at it. I would say that if
depends on how you look at it.
Think about it from a financial way, then sure, it's not that good for Israel. But from another way, I would say that we as a country need to learn also to rely only on ourselves and not from other countries.
Done such a great job at that, really. When has Israel ever relied on itself in its, 78-year history?
So that's why it depends how you look at the question, as I see it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call.
So it's a great non-answer, Shlomo. Very good, very good.
I think you can't always be depending on those around you, and it's a good tool, not necessarily a necessary thing.
Why do you think the world has turned on Israel?
Because they're Jew haters.
Well, there is a lot of ways to see that. I believe that first of all, it's.
Let's play the hot take game, says Saeed. I start a sentence and you complete it. I'll start, he says. Hot take. I think the Austrian painter ... Saeed, are you trying to get me fired right now? Is that what's going on here? I'll leave you all to think about the rest of that. You can say it for me, Nika?
I think that the main part is that people are unaware for the reality that is what is really happening in here. Of course, it's coming from a lot of anti-Semitism against Israel, but I believe that there are just people that really don't know the truth of what is really happening in here. For example, the war in Gaza, people think that it's just things that are happening, but not really something that is. They don't understand really what is happening. They think and hear from other people what is happening, and this is the reason for them to hate us, and they hate us before they even know and really understand what is happening.
Ah, yes. You don't realize what the Jews are facing here in occupied land.
Yeah.
I think social media is a big factor. I think we've definitely lost our war in social media. Yeah.
It's like from Nosferatu's anus to Shoshana's mouth here.
There's so much lies compared to facts and what really is true, and I think that that's what
She sounds so thoughtful, you know, there's just like, obviously we're very nuanced, we understand that the social media is, shut up.
we're missing is to bring awareness. That's something that we actually do. We go across countries and share about the truth of
Yeah.
what
I
happened.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Fighting on the 7th of October.
Israeli proselytizers, they are.
And being honest about his family's from the Gaza Strip, how they survived, and just being kind of honest
Gaza
with
envelope,
facts,
yeah.
what happened. So.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. We could go back to really understand what they're actually saying, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, it's social media.
It's just the social media. It has nothing to do with the war crimes of my government. It's all AI fabrications. It's literally AI hallucinations. It's crazy because they have trillions of dollars going into the PR apparatus that they've conjured up for the past 78 years to justify Israel and its existence, and they're still losing. These fuckers are still losing. The truth shall set you free, right?
זה מפריע לי, רק
The truth costs nothing.
אני יכולה להבין.
אוקיי. אז איך אפשר לשפר את המצב?
לחשוב על שלום לא בצורה תיאורטית שלא אופק שאי אפשר להגיע אליו, אלא בצורה מעשית, מה נדרש?
These people don't budge an inch. She said, we need to start thinking about peace, not just theoretically. All right, let's start really thinking about peace now. Let's stop theorizing peace. Let's think about it realistically. Should we do anything? No, just think harder, please.
כדי להגיע לפיוס?
אוקיי. למה את חושבת שזה ככה? כאילו שהם נגד?
אני חושבת שכרגע ישראל מבצעת דברים שהם לא לגיטימיים.
Wow, she said, I think at the moment, Israel is not doing things that are legitimate. Wow.
האם זה מדאיג אותך, מדאיגה אותך, שהעולם הציגו
Does it worry you that the world no longer supports Israel?
לא.
לא?
לא.
אז למה?
למה זה לא מדאיג אותי?
Look at my nose. Of course it does not worry me.
יש לי אמונה מאוד חזקה בקדוש ברוך הוא.
I have very strong faith in God. I have very big nose.
שכל החיים זה היה ככה. מאז שבעצם עם ישראל נולד. כולם שונאים אותנו.
The Jewish people, she said, since the Jewish people were born, everyone hates us. Are you serious? How do you not have any self-awareness? You literally just said, why? Just for no reason? Apropos of nothing? Everyone just hates you? It could never be anything that could possibly pertain to something that maybe you might be doing? I know you can't see the subtitles fully. That's why I'm trying to read it to you. She says, we are the chosen pee-hole. They trump us with that every time, right? Well, we're chosen. Fuck. They pulled out the chosen card and it's like, all are vanquished. Thank God. How does that song go? She says, in every generation they rise up against us to destroy us, and the Holy One, blessed be He. Blah blah blah. That's my faith. So she's like, yeah, I'm perfectly well aware that we are reviled historically in every epoch of history, every age, no matter what context, no matter what society, no matter what civilization. They just, I don't know. Seems like everybody's just, the world is evil. He says, why do you think the world doesn't support you? Because I don't think they see the correct perspective. So again, with the media. Even our media doesn't show the right perspective for what is happening here. The only right perspective is what I think in my little pea brain. That's the right perspective. Anything that violates my preconceived ideas about my world, well, that's the wrong perspective. Give an example of a mistake they made. She says, Channel 12, which shows us supporting bringing goods to Gaza, and that we support them and give them aid, coming from our people. So, of course, people outside. Okay, but the big question there, Shoshana, is why is Palestine... trying to think of the word. Why is Palestine required Israeli aid? Why does Israel, the arbiter of humanitarian aid to Gaza, to Palestine, why is it necessary for them to be dependent on the Israelis? And the answer to that is that there's a blockade happening. There's literal Bronze Age siege warfare, barbarism imposed upon the Gaza Strip, imposed upon the Palestinians. This is why they have to have charitable acts from other countries, other humanitarian organizations. That's why you see the Gaza aid flotillas trying to break through the blockade. That's the untold story. And they love to tout themselves as, this benevolent, father-like figure. We're so generous. We allow the aid to go through. Look at that. But in actuality, they don't. They don't allow the aid to go through. That's why Gaza is starving. That's why there's famine, et cetera, et cetera. We know the whole story. But I find it something to note when they start patting themselves on the back about how they give aid to Palestine. It's like, you missed the fucking plot. A sovereign country of indigenous self-determining people should not be blockaded and then have to beseech the imperial king tyrant for food. That's not, you're violating their human rights, you silly little bitch. She says the world outside will see that, but if we believe in ourselves and show the truth about what is happening within our own people, everyone will support us. Well, that's a big failure. It's big if true. This guy says he cares. It's very sad for him that no one likes us. I always look at it as, why doesn't the entire world like us? Because of this war? Why does It's like that meme where the dude shoots the dude in the chair and he's like, why do they hate us? Our public diplomacy with the world is terrible. I was in Thailand and something happened to me. Okay, what are you doing there? Some British guy on a motorcycle said to him, fuck Israel, F all the J's. Oh my goodness, something like that. I was so shocked. Where does this hate come from? Where do you think it comes from? They think we are committing a genocide because of the hunger in Gaza. They do insane promotion for their side. The world sees us as, we have a siege. They have again, didn't I just say this? He acknowledges it, and he still wonders why. He says, we have a siege. They have no food. But why did they hate us? Why does everyone hate us? It's bad marketing. The situation with the British guy reminded me of Dresden when when they bombed Dresden. They claimed that we are committing genocide. Yeah, okay, but you British, you committed a genocide a while ago. So what's wrong with us committing a genocide now? That's this guy's logic. Incredible. Incredible. He's like, why don't you talk about Sudan? Why don't you talk about Russia? Why don't you talk about Assad and Syria? Now in Iran, he repeats the lie. They killed 30,000 people. About Israel, it's easier to hate because we are small. The tiny defense. Your Honor, I'd like to employ the tiny defense. We are a tiny country of tiny people with tiny hats. If we were big, the majority in the world, like Muslims or Christians, then there would be less ability to do this too. Yeah, there would be if you were fucking like, the U.S. empire, sure. It's never like, let me self-reflect and think about what we're doing on the world stage. It's always like, well, they've got it wrong. If only we did more of this shit, then they wouldn't have the voice that they do have to come at us like they do. There's no awareness with these people. And it's funny because, yes, I thought he was going to say, if we were bigger, then more people would like us. And it's like, well, the United States is by far the world's largest superpower for the past 80 to 100 years. And we are hated. We are reviled amongst the world community. And every year, there's a poll that is conducted with the world population that asks the simple question. I think it's from the Rand Corporation, if I remember correctly, but they always ask, Who is the biggest threat to international world peace? Who's the biggest threat to world peace? And overwhelmingly, the United States ranks number 1. Russia's not even like in the top 5, by the way. That's according to the global community of people, not their governments, not et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's see what this chode has to say. First of all, he says he does care that no one likes him. He doesn't think it's okay. He is asked why he thinks that is. He says, it isn't anything new. Yeah, we noticed. It's something that exists for decades. Gee, I wonder why. And with time, it just developed. I think it's more about hatred for Jews, he says, more than hating Israel. It's crazy, right? Has nothing to do with the crimes of the state of Israel. It has something to do with some cultural phenomena that happens in the mind, the sick woke mind virus of people that are just, they just wake up and they just want to hate the joys just for no reason at all. It's a complete reversal of, obviously cause and effect. It's a complete reversal of cause and effect, right? Seems to me, he says, that all of Europe has become Muslim. Source? What is the source for that? And they want quiet there. I mean, the warped perception of these people is just baffling. They're becoming more Islamic, you see. Yeah, if only, Saeed says, exactly. The world might be a safer, more peaceful place, right? Everything I've learned about Islam in the past 3 years is like commendable. It's like, they don't attack women and children. They have like fatwas against procuring a nuclear weapon. They don't do anything that the Israelis do because of their religion, whereas the Israelis do it because of their religion. It's like, geez, I don't really find this religion to be all that redeemable in the world, do you? Like, I think feeding children is more important than being Jewish. And if I were Jewish and I saw what was happening, I would give up my preciousness about this identity that I have, I wouldn't flaunt it. I wouldn't, I would stand in solidarity with the oppressed people. I wouldn't double down on my victimhood. They know that if some prime minister or someone in a European country that tries to support Israel, so he's still going on about how Europe is Muslim now. That's why they hate the Jays. It's just the brain rot, my God. Do you care that the world doesn't support Israel? Yeah, she cares. Why do you think that is? She says because they need to hate someone. Just, okay, source? Who says we need to hate anyone, lady? Yeah, we hate child murderers. We hate people that engineer famines. We hate people that have a formal doctrine of terrorizing, humiliating, and punishing civilians that live in other countries in order to break their societies so that you can parasitically go in and control that land. And nothing is above reproach for you people. You'll do anything to get that done, to achieve those aims. You are not human. There is no humanity in these people. So they have their humanity revoked. We don't treat them as humans because what do they do? Look at their actions. Their actions are inhumane. So our rhetoric is inhumane towards them. That's only, most basic logic that you can employ in this situation. It's the bare fucking minimum. Why is it easy to hate us? He asks. She says, because we are different. What can be done about it? What's so different about you? I mean, aside from everything. Oh, I thought she leaned over to fart or something. What can be done? What is to be done, Shoshana? What are we going to do about this? To show other sides of us, she says. We need to see more about Israel. We haven't seen enough out of Israel. We need to see when you spit on Christians and treat everyone like they're slaves. Then you'll understand why we're chosen. She says, I don't think there's much we can do to change their minds. Do you think the country will suffer, he says. For example, Europe and America won't want to do business with us. Yes, it's not good for our economy. Won't someone please think of the economy? Do we need to do everything for them to want us? No. I think we can do other things to develop economies. Yeah, you're an idiot. Bottom line, what they want is that we make peace with Palestinians, Lebanese, etc. Are you willing to do that? If it is real peace, I will. But she doesn't think it's possible because they really hate us, the terrorist organizations. It depends who we make peace with and how we make peace. Obviously the joke is they want peace. They want the peace of Lebanon is what they want. That's the kind of peace. Thank you, Agaran. There you go. Yeah, we just don't like inhumane actions and ideologies. Tammy Avocar. Why do they hate us, Tammy? Because we don't have enough. What's it called? Public diplomacy, she says. She had to ask for help. Can I phone a friend? What's it called? We don't have enough help of what? Oh yeah, diplomacy. It's like Israelis don't practice diplomacy. They're non-diplomatic. They're diplomatic averse. Diplomacy averse. They're diplomacy incapable. And she says, why do they hate us? Because we lack, it's our fault. Because we don't have public diplomacy. What the fuck is public diplomacy? She's like, I'm just going shopping at Zara. I don't know, what's it called? Public diplomacy, yeah. I would show them the viewpoint of what we go through here. They don't show it enough. Yeah, we need to see more footage from Israel. I think they see it, he says. I think they just don't care. Because the other side, for example, the Palestinians or the Iranians suffer more. Because of that, she says, no, let me cut you off right there. They simply don't show how much we suffer. As she's what? Going shopping for the day? Like, even just giving this interview is an admission that you're not suffering. You know, because if you really were suffering, you'd be suffering like the Palestinians are suffering. They don't have the option of going to a clothing outlet and going to the beach and having a little fun day Sunday. You're not suffering. Look at you. How much we suffer. And then she smiles. Can you give an example of something that happened to you? No, she says, it's not about me specifically. At least she's honest about that. She's like, yeah, I'm not suffering. I think the pain that this country is experiencing, everyone experiences it. Really? I don't see it. They just don't talk about what we're experiencing. Who's they? And scene. Hi, this is Ron. He's an Israeli. He lives in Haifa. He does have a nose ring because he's LGBT affirmative. And that's how you know that Israel is a democracy in the Middle East. It's the most moral country in the Middle East. They allow their citizens to wear nose rings, and that is really great. We love you, Israel. Also, you won't find any sex shops in Gaza. That's because they hang gays from cranes. But here in Tel Aviv, we get it on, okay? We get down with the get down. Can you feel me? You won't find any vibrating butt plugs in Gaza. I don't know what happened to the subtitles. Maybe it's because he's speaking English. Let's see.
Hard for people to know.
That's another thing. He's speaking English. That's weird. He's indigenous to the Middle East. He's indigenous to McDonald's, folks. That's what he's indigenous to. You would think 3,000 years wandering the desert, they would have developed a tan. They wouldn't be so heavily reliant on sunscreen.
What's good and what's bad. I need to think about this.
I really need to. I mean, I nailed his voice, right? I got that. All I had to do was look at him. I knew what he was going to sound like.
Question, actually.
That's a great question. Oh my god, I never thought about that. Let me think. Why do they not like us?
I need to think about this for a second.
Yeah, this is like really tough. This isn't like I'm Israel Chai. I really need to dig deep.
Why the world stop supporting Israel?
Like, why do you think it is? What do you think the reasons are? This is why I use a microphone.
Oh, they just hate the Jews, sweetie. That's just been happening since time immemorial.
What do you think the reasons are? And how can it be helped?
I don't really know anything about what's going on, so I just say they hate the Jays. It's I fall back on that because it's good. It's usually right, and like for no reason at all. My girlfriend's laughing at me right now doing this accent, so I'm just gonna keep doing it because I like making her laugh. It's like really cute. They got nothing to hide, but they hide everything. Yeah, there you go. Jake Jackoff, thank you for that wonderful comment. Everybody give Jake Jackoff a round of applause. That was a beautiful comment, guy. Well done. Well done.
I mean, I think what you can say is that it's really hard to know something from a first point of view versus third point of view.
Yeah.
And so with everything in the world being so crazy nowadays.
He's like, sorry, I can't be bothered. I'm late for the gangbang.
There are different priorities, and
We give a new meaning to the term bunker buster, if you know what I'm saying.
being able to see something first person versus third person makes it much clearer what the day-to-day is like.
Yeah, and I think that usually it's very hard for people to understand how the things in Israel are so complicated. Like, it's very hard for
everything about the Middle East is so complicated. The history. I mean, when you see us bombing children and like ripping their limbs up and sniping them in the head, and graping them, and starving them and all that, that's just you have to understand that is the result of a complex history.
To explain people from abroad.
If you understood our ideology, you'd be okay with us like murdering children.
Going on in Israel, and to explain that like we're taking care of ourselves, we're defending ourselves, but on the outside, people, I don't know.
If you took every conflict in the world, every global conflict since 2021 and tallied up how many children were killed in that conflict since 2021, every year since 2021 to the present year, 2026, it would be less than the amount of children that are killed in Gaza. But it's just really complicated. You just don't understand. It's like war has casualties. There's collateral damage.
From Europe or, I don't know, the States or anywhere else, thinking that we're just like, I don't know, bloodthirsty.
Oh, yeah.
And,
who could have gotten that idea, Baal? I don't know. Was it the blood sacrifices to Baal maybe that did it? Why do you guys think that the Jays are like into like weird sacrificial stuff? That's your problem.
Just willing for war, but...
What do you think the truth is?
The truth is that
I think the truth is complicated.
Yeah, it's just like it's difficult.
Complicated.
It's complicated.
Everything's so complicated when you are on the side that's the oppressor and you're benefiting from the oppression. Well, it's just really complicated. It's actually pretty simple. It's literally just occupation versus resistance. It's war crime versus the resistance to the war crime. That's it. It's actually one of the most simple, basic things that a 5-year-old can understand. This is the most basic issue, the most basic moral question of our day. Devoid of any complications, devoid of any ideological considerations. And, you know, I'm coming at this with the history of being an American in this country, growing up, and always hearing about how complicated the Middle East is. It's just, you know, every administration, it's a path to peace. It's, oh man, the Middle East, that's just a quagmire. And then you roll back, you peel back the layers of understanding, peel back all the layers of deception, I should say, and you realize that it's actually one of the most simplest things that you could possibly understand. And it all goes back to Israel. It's just Israel. That's it. It's the source of all of the misery, all of the violence, everything. But of course, the only people that are telling us it's complicated are the Israelis.
Trying to defend ourselves. It's very hard to live here anyway.
It's already very hard to leave here unless I really need to be at swim week in Miami. Then you better believe I am hopping on the first flight out of Tel Aviv to Miami, baby. Sorry, that was cringe. But you get the idea. It's not hard to leave. These are dual citizens. This guy speaks English. He's got an American accent. He's from the fucking States. What does he have to do with the Middle East?
I lived here my whole life. I've seen war. I've seen suicide bombs. I've seen everything. I saw people going to war and not coming back. It's not like we're willing for it. And I think the Israeli society is really, life is very important.
Israeli society? Man, that word society is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
For us. But sometimes you need to sacrifice some stuff, like, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to sacrifice something. Yeah, like I guess, you know, hundreds of thousands of Palestinian children. I mean, you know, sort of like when Donald Trump says, look, you're just going to have to pay more in gas. It's something. It's a sacrifice that you have to take, and I'm willing to bear.
You need fighting to wars. Like fighting wars. It's not like we're willing to do that.
You're definitely willing to do it. In fact, you're so willing to do it that you don't fight wars. You don't even need to fight a war. You destroy your civilization destroyers, and then you have to euphemize it by calling it a war. But there's never been a war in history where you had only one army. There's never been a war where it's been a standing army versus a civilian population. That's not a war. That's a genocide. That's a crime.
I believe in peace, even though it's not like a really...
You pay lip service to this concept of peace, but you don't believe in it.
Common word people usually use these days, but I'm willing for peace. I'm willing to...
As he looks around uncomfortably, I don't like to talk about peace, and I know I have to say this, but I'm willing, for peace.
Yeah.
Where do I look? In the camera, motherfucker. Look me in the eye, bitch. You can't.
It is interesting to see how...
okay, we made it through that fucking slop.
Increasingly isolated the UK is, and how the flotilla forced this issue. This is Giorgia Meloni, the Italian prime minister. The images of Ben-Gvir are unacceptable. It's inadmissible that these...
So I guess she's responding to Ben-Gvir sticking his tongue out at the Gaza aid flotilla activists, looking like a demon. People thought that was AI. It was not AI. That's a real picture.
Demonstrators are subjected to this treatment that violates human dignity. And she summoned the Israeli ambassador and demanded an apology, a formal apology from Israel. Many other European states, I think France also, summoned Israeli ambassadors. I think the UK summoned the ambassador, but it was a much more calmly worded clinically worded tweet. Meloni has previously condemned the flotilla. There are many, many Italian citizens who go on these and help coordinate them. So, there's much more pressure on her to condemn it. And this, to me, represents something of a diplomatic shift that could, do you think this could lead to any concrete change in policy from the non-Commonwealth European states?
I mean, I really hope so. Ireland was very close to bringing in a law that would have applied full sanctions on Israel, even though if they had done so, they would have been in breach of EU law and would have been fined £1 million a day for taking those sanctions. But they were still within like 5 or 6 votes of applying those sanctions and taking the fine anyway.
So the EU will fine you £1 million a day if you sanction Israel?
Without the full cooperation of the EU. So for a country to do it independently, that would be a breach of EU law.
Yeah.
So, but even with that, the Irish Parliament were very, very close to passing the sanctions anyway and saying, basically, fine us if you like. I'll say this about the consulate staff. So when we arrived in Turkey, after like 4 days of like horrific torture, I went to the British consulate staff and I told them that I'd witnessed a sexual assault and I needed to give them a statement about that, and that this was a very important matter. And 3 times they said, yeah, that's really, really important, and then walked away. And I had to go up to them. I went up to them 3 times and tried to raise this issue with them. And 3 times they walked away without taking a statement and basically refused to do anything. As we went to the medical center afterwards, where people were getting their wounds checked and everything officially taken down for all of the results of the torture. There were Irish, there were German, there were Belgian consulate staff there till 3 o'clock in the morning. I literally saw them with my own eyes. The Brits were gone from the centre within the first hour. They didn't even go to the health centre. They just left the airport. So this was the quality of the response from the British consulate. And honestly, I've come to expect no better from them. The Irish consulate were telling me I need to pull my finger out and get an Irish passport because my family are originally Irish. And then they were like, then we can come and help you as well. I was like, if ever there was a strong argument for doing that, now's the time.
Yeah, I was reading a testimony from a Kiwi activist from New Zealand who is actually Maori and said that he was brutally beaten. They threatened to throw him in a room with dogs to be tortured. He witnessed many of the horrors that you did. And then, upon return to Auckland, they were not received by anyone. There was simply no government support for them, complete silence about what took place there. In Australia, we saw a Green member of Parliament speak up about the sexual assault and torture, but Labour was pretty silent. And go ahead.
I can go one up on that on that New Zealand case. As we arrived in the UK, the British delegation, there was a press conference organised in a hotel next door. And the police went and threatened the hotel that if they allowed them to do the press conference, that they would bring problems for them using prevent legislation.
What?
So it said that it would be radicalizing, and so we had to go and do the press conference out in a field, not too far away from the airport, because of the hotel where we had booked were basically intimidated by the British police to not even allow us to have the press conference there.
That is insane. That's incredible.
Welcome to the home of democracy and free speech.
Yeah. The Westphalian values are increasingly looking like Israeli values in the UK. This is how activists were received in Bilbao, Spain by Basque police. And I want you to address this as well. This was pretty wild. They're still wearing the sweatsuits that, that you were put in prison that you see so many prisoners come out of Gaza wearing?
This is really hard for me to watch because I was in the cells with a lot of these people, and I mean, they're really brave, wonderful.
These are Spanish police.
Wonderful captains. Yeah.
Why are they beating them? Like they just walked out of the airport.
So, to my understanding, even though the Spanish government is generally pretty positive on the issue of Palestine, a lot of these activists are from the Catalan region, and so because they were support Catalan independence, and that's why the Basque police came in at them like this.
Thank you for your super, Agaran. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
A lot of the sailors and the skippers were Spanish because the flotilla actually began in Barcelona.
So would you say?
I'm pretty sure they get kicked out of Mars too for some weird reason, Saeed.
You know, Pedro Sanchez has been one of the most outspoken European leaders, Western leaders, condemning what Israel's been doing in Gaza, its attacks on Iran. But, you know, he was essentially green-lighting this treatment of these activists because of their affiliation with the Catalan independence movement.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe we should just leave Earth to the Jays. Set out for greener pastures.
That's my understanding. But unfortunately, you know,
it's obvious that we were wrong. Okay, I don't know what we were thinking, trying to live in peace and harmony on a huge planet like planet Earth.
In my experience, cops lean into fascism all too quickly, and are often sort of like a rule unto themselves.
I'm just as confused as you are, Martin, because we thought that Spain was pretty based.
Even if they're politicians, might have different positions. I think there's a lot of local politics that's going on there in that scene.
Yeah,
it's really hard for me to watch because like they literally just come from being beaten and battered and abused in similar ways by the Israelis, and then they come home and their own country does the same thing.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth quoting Pulp Fiction and Call of Duty. That's my Secretary of War, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of shocking to me. And I saw the Israeli Foreign Ministry promote it and say, "Oh, we condemn this," and you know, we're not basically to say we're not the only ones, and actually your own governments are worse, which was extremely cynical, but typical of them. Just as typical as them condemning the UN for placing Israel on a blacklist of nations that practice sexual abuse on a systematic scale in their prisons, when they had lobbied the UN and that very body to place Hamas on that blacklist. So they said the UN has no validity. This is a fake body, but they were lobbying that same body back in starting in 2023. Just everything they do is completely cynical.
Rules for thee, not for me. And this has been the operating procedure for Israel for as long as I've followed this conflict. And you know, like I remember being a kid and my mum explaining to me, my mother had spent time in the West Bank before I was even born, working with the Palestinian organizations and groups. And yeah, this is a story that, as we said at the beginning, it's been going on for 75 years, from before either of us were twinkles in the eyes of our parents.
Indeed. So where does the float? I mean, you're still working on the flotilla.
Yeah.
What's next?
So what's next is actually I can send it to you as well. I've got footage of our boat that was scuppered and sunk. And so one of the other boats managed to get back to it as it was sinking and get some footage of that, which I can send to you. I don't think it's been made public. But what's next for us is I'm going to be doing a range of talks across Europe with comrades at mosques, with as many people as I can, trying to show what happened. One of the other objectives of this flotilla was to create first-hand witnesses who can speak from personal experience about what had happened. And so we have a duty to the people of Gaza to keep speaking out and to keep working on this issue. So as we do those events, we'll hopefully be raising money for more boats and a bigger flotilla. The last flotilla that went was about 40 boats. This one was 82 boats. So hopefully the next one will be 120, 150 boats. And we will come back with numbers until we get that aid through to Gaza.
Fuck yeah. Okay, I wanted to share this clip of this anti-Semite who just really offended me, and I tried to share it on YouTube, but they didn't like it, and they basically raised the red flag about the video before I could. Well, after I shared it, and so I had to delete it. But I'm gonna play it for you now, okay? And look at this guy. He's an Israeli. His name is Michael Rappaport, and he's talking about just how democratic of a society that Israel really is.
All right, see that's an adult store, LGBTQ. And everything under the sun. That's allowed. That's freedom. You think they got sex stores? Gaza?
All right, this is one of them sex stores. It's an adult store. You see that? LGBTQ+. That's actual freedom. You think they had sex stores in Dachau? You think Anne Frank was clapping those cheeks, shaking for shekels?
That's a pretty good point, actually.
I don't think so. No.
Google sex shop in Gaza.
Why would I Google sex shop in Gaza?
Your phone will break. Your phone will break. It'll disconnect. You might break your phone if you Google LGBTQ in Gaza.
Google Anne Frank gets her cheeks clapped. You tell me what you find. Your fucking phone might blow up. Your fucking phone will just blow up. You fucking just blow up. Do you think that if your Auntie Leibowitz was in an emergency and she had to get a vibrating butt plug in Auschwitz, that she would have been able to get that?
That is a good question. I would say no.
Google Anne Frank shakes her titties for shekels. Your fucking phone will blow up. I mean, do you really believe they had dudes on dudes sucking each other off, doing all kinds of gay shit in Auschwitz? No. They couldn't taste that kind of freedom.
That's
you really
true.
think that Buchenwald was a butt sex bastion of freedom? Google Auschwitz butt plug.
It's hard to argue with that. Now I kind of see the anti-Semites' point of view here. Suleiman's page is growing. At Moral Resistance on YouTube. I encourage you guys to follow him. I sing his praises always. He does great work. He just hit 10,000 subscribers in a month. This guy is rocketing out into the stratosphere. And I'm here for it. So make sure you follow him. Moral Resistance on YouTube. We'll have to get him back on the show. Get another update soon. Yes, it is a real grandmother. Behold. Analog synth for the win. Type shit. Okay, let's see. We interviewed Butch Ware last week. You know that tomorrow is the I don't say it's the Democratic primary. It's the jungle primary, as it's known, in California. There's like 60 fucking candidates on this ballot for governor of California for this primary happening tomorrow, June 2nd, and they finagled their way to push Butch Ware off the ballot. And so he's now, and we are now urging, if you live in the state of California, he needs 1 million votes. He needs 1 million votes on the ballot, and that's his target. And I think we can do it, okay? There's like 50 to 60 million people in California alone. Come on. So write in Butch Ware. He's the only political candidate that I will cape for and simp for, all right? And I mean that. And also Anthony Aguilar, I should say. Any Green Party candidate is got my vote at this point, okay? And but certainly, like, not even just because they're Green Party, but I especially love Butch Ware. And Anthony Aguilar, of course. You are now in a state of war, he says, a war against your choice, against a non-corporate option, against an anti-genocide option. Let's take a look.
You are now in a state of war. That this is actually a war against your choice. It's a war against you having a non-corporate option. It's a war against you having an anti-genocide option. They are at war with you. And you need to respond with a sense of urgency. You need to contribute and donate to a war chest, because it's going to cost over the next couple years, as we build into 2028 in my race and in Greg's race and in a bunch of other races, it's going to cost millions of dollars to be in and out of court, because they are going to not leave any weapon unfired in their efforts to suppress this movement, because this movement is an existential threat. Yep. This movement is the existential threat for the duopoly.
It's like, if you really oppose all the things that we, talk about on this stream, here's the front line. This is where the actual authentic antagonism, the actual resistance to the corporate duopoly, this is that narrative. This is where that story is taking place. And we need everyone's help. We should all be, if you actually really believe in this, if you're not, fooled by this strategy of incrementalism and harm reduction that never reduces any harm, it only prolongs it, it only expands it. This is the front line right here.
Is no other independent political movement that threatens them at the ballot box. And therefore, they are going to turn all of their weapons against us. And we must be prepared to rally the troops, tens, hundreds of thousands of volunteers nationwide, for all of the different candidates that are running green and trying to fight back against this duopoly.
All right, June 2nd, write in Butch Ware. You can do it now if you live in California and you have your ballot. All right, I think wait, I don't know, how did we go? Oh, yeah, that's right, I switched out. Let's go back to the Discord now. All Israel News, that's exactly what I wanted to hear from. Thank you, chatter, for sharing this. From All Israel News, a shocking poll. It says, young evangelicals turning away from Jews as God's chosen?
Hey, folks, David Brody here in Washington, D.C. Want to talk a little bit about the young...
All Israel News. Where is he reporting from? Washington, D.C. Obviously, Israel's capital.
Jew and the young evangelical problem that is brewing in this country.
Oh, no, we have a young evangelical problem. This is why I can see why Israel doesn't like children. They have funny little ideas about the world. They're not encumbered by indoctrination. They're not burdened with propaganda. They're new to all this. They can see and spot malevolence. They can spot criminality. They have a moral faculty that is innate to them, and they're not encumbered by all of the slop that the Zionists feed us. Because let's be real, Israel won't survive the internet. Israel won't survive the iPhone.
country. It's been brewing for quite some time. In other words, this is not your grandfather's evangelical Christianity, if you will.
And the Israelis say, can't we just drone strike Gen Z?
Well, sadly. And it's not some of your grandfather's Judaism as well.
Let's revive the boomers. I don't like where this is going.
We pointed that out in the article.
I'm kvetching.
About how young Jews are differing quite a bit from folks that are older, whether they be Jewish or evangelical Christian. And here's something that concerns me, and I want to show you. I'm looking here down at
Oops, we spit on the Christians one too many times. Oy vey.
my phone because it's the Christian Post that's reporting this, and this is the headline. Let me read it to you. It says, young evangelicals less likely to believe that Jews are God's chosen people. That's according to
genocide will do that. That's crazy.
A poll. This is from the Christian Post. It's a report titled Crossroads of Belief, Evangelicals and the Jewish People. It's
the Jewish people.
Turns out that evangelical Christians under the age of 35, they're
what are the core, let's just do a thought experiment, okay? What are the key concepts that Shlomo Sand uses to refute the idea that Jewish people is an authentic identity and not a nationalist myth? In his book, The Invention of the Jewish People, historian Shlomo Sand argues that the concept of a unified, ethnically distinct Jewish people possessing a continuous biological lineage to ancient times is a modern nationalist myth. His core arguments to refute the authenticity of this identity include the myth of the exile. Sand challenges the foundational narrative that the Roman Empire expelled the Jewish population from the ancient kingdom of Judea in 70 CE. He argues that this forced mass exile never fucking happened. Instead, the local populations mostly remained, later converting to Christianity and eventually Islam. Rather than descending from a single isolated ethnic group, Sand argues that contemporary Jews are largely the progeny of widespread religious conversions. This is something that doesn't get talked about too much, but Jewishness or Judaism is a proselytizing religion that actively sought converts throughout the Mediterranean, North Africa, and the Middle East. So how can you be a homogeneous ethnic group if you're also a proselytizing religion, bringing in followers from other ethnicities and other nationalities? Make it make sense. Sand applies concepts of modern nationalism to argue that the idea of an eternal transnational Jewish race nation, that's a mouthful, the eternal transnational Jewish race nation of Israel. Yeah, I don't know about that. Only emerged in the 19th century. He claims this identity was retroactively constructed by Zionist intellectuals to justify the creation of a modern nation state in the Middle East. Would you use the phrase the Scientologist people? Do Scientologists deserve their own ethno-state because of their religious origin story? Doesn't it sound a little batshit insane to say the Scientologist nation? Well, it's the same. It's a fucking cult. It's a cult. Sorry for yelling. Okay. He disputes modern DNA and genetic studies that claim to trace Jewish ancestry back to the ancient Levant. Sand likens these genetic investigations to the discredited racial anthropology and pseudosciences of the 19th and early 20th centuries. So when you say Jewish people, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. All I hear is Zionist propaganda. Where the fuck was I?
Are less likely than those above the age of 35 to believe that Jews are God's chosen people, and that they are more likely to support replacement theology, which of course is extremely dangerous. And if you just go on, it also says 49% of people overall, we're talking about evangelicals here, believe Jews are God's chosen people. Only 29% of people below the age of 35 actually agreed with that statement. So if you unpack all of that, that is extremely troubling.
I think when you unpack all of that, I think what you're left with is that it sucks to suck.
Because this idea that, younger folks overall, we're talking about like how we talk about AOC and we talk about a lot of the folks, these younger blue-haired Democrats that are
the blue-haired liberals, man.
Out of control and all of that.
You fucker said blue-haired Democrats. Shut up.
Okay, sure, progressivism has hit them, and anti-colonialism has hit them.
Oh, no, not anti-colonialism. The Gen Z is smoking that anti-colonial pack. This is bad news. Why would they do this? Why would they be opposed to colonialism?
All of that type of thing. But it has infiltrated the church. And that's the truth of the matter. It just has. Now, has it been as stark as, in the AOC world and some of the...
Thank you, Political Homemaker. I appreciate that comment. You say, long-time listener here, love the show. Thanks for covering the Green Party, Free Palestine. Hell yeah. We stand the Green Party on this stream, baby. It's the only party that is actually, only party that's running political candidates, I would say, that actually platforms policies that I agree with. Yasser Acid Fat says the state of Israel created by the Rothschilds in 1947 has absolute zero connection to wandering biblical tribesmen from North Africa. Yeah, from 2,000 years ago. One other chatter said something like, if it supposedly happened more than 500 years ago, to me, it's not, you can't even bring that shit to the table, especially when you're talking about political, considerations, geopolitical considerations, and the present world, They want to go back to Babylonian times and Hammurabi's code. It's like, no, we don't operate under that system anymore, fuckface. You can't just cherry pick history and be like, well, this is where history started for us. So therefore, it's the one true history. And as I say a lot, the Jews were chosen 3,000 years ago, but not 4,000 years ago. They were unchosen 2,000 years ago. They were chosen 3,000 years ago, but then the bulk of their history, they've been unchosen. Mathematically, they're more unchosen than they have been chosen. That's just going by the numbers here. Because they only became rechosen in 1948. So, sorry, but you've basically been wandering through the desert for thousands of years because God didn't like you. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't that way.
Folks out there, no, it has not. Having said that, the fact that if you look at these statistics, you have more evangelical Christians under the age of 35 believing in replacement theology, that is a major problem, folks.
You're right. I'm really not fucking sorry. Thank you for correcting me, Thugbone. In my moment of weakness, I betrayed you. But you're right. I'm not fucking sorry. Are you kidding me? I stand on business, folks.
Obviously it's a major problem.
Obviously it's a major problem.
God can break his promises.
Oh my God.
To the Jewish people.
God can't break his promise to the Jewish people.
God can break his promises to you and me today.
Hey.
What's the difference? There is no difference. It's apples and apples. Here's the other portion of this. If you believe that the Jews are not God's chosen people anymore, well, then guess what? Let me think. You can vilify Jews up the proverbial yin-yang. Because if they're not God's chosen people, and they're not those Jews.
Oh, my God. We're not giving special treatment to the Jews? You're not anointing them to be on the altar as chosen by God? And thus put yourself down like you're less than? Wow, that's a huge problem. What's next? You know? You're going to start advocating for equal rights for all humans, whether they're Jewish or not? Are you a monster?
The Old Testament Jews, if you can divorce that and say, the Netanyahus of today. And
that's why Jewphoria is always talking about the Old Testament. Oh, the first Bible was really the best Bible. First Bible, best Bible. You know, when God was vengeful, they loved the Old Testament.
All of the Israelis living today are not from the Old Testament Jews. Well, if that's
shut the fuck up. You've got the backdrop of Congress and you're talking about biblical history. You're a clown.
The case, as replacement theology would dictate, Tucker Carlson and others, if that is the case, well then what? Then you're going to not only vilify Jews, but that's where the anti-Semitism comes in.
Oh my God, dude! Jewish supremacy. I mean, it's kind of redundant, but you know, it's like saying the Nazis. Like, let's go back to the Nazis. Like, you didn't believe that the Aryan nation was supreme? What kind of monster are you? Like, you're going to just vilify Germans because you don't believe the Nazi platforms? Well, then you're just going to vilify Germans. Well, how dare you? No, we just don't believe that any social or ethnic group has a right to enslave other social or ethnic groups.
And you can all of a sudden have a villain in the story. And so I think that's really the biggest.
We just need our villain. That's all. That's all we want. We're so cynical about our world. We just needed somebody to hate.
Concern here, and something not only worth watching, but really could be a major detriment in the road forward. Any sort of not just coverage of Israel.
That's funny that you think that there's a road forward for your chosen ass, for your chicken swinging ass, for your coin clipping, grabbling ass.
But the way Jews around the world are seen. This is David Brody here in Washington, D.C.
Okay, David Brody-Berg, wonderful reporting.
Israel and the United States are both losing popularity. They're losing support. Israel is losing legitimacy.
Please,
they're both
stop. I'm going to come.
Upon globally. As a matter of fact, the United States is isolated alongside its clique, its Western establishment clique in the whole world. They try and claim that they speak in the name of the world, and we condemn and we do this and we do that. Really and truly, they represent no one but themselves and the people who back them. And that is the tiny minority that has interest and makes money out of these wars that kill millions of innocent people. Therefore, what do they have to do? They have to try and get some popularity, revive some of the sympathy, and it's not really going very well. Listen to this. Israel brought some Christians from around the world to speak in the Israeli Knesset. And I mean, I'll let you watch.
You are one sick fuck. How dare you? You want me to go full screen so you can finish? I would never do that. Shame on you. Shame. Shame this man. Okay, I'm sorry.
Before saying anything.
Father God, as a German and European, I just ask forgiveness for the anti-Semitism all around that is growing, and we repent on behalf of it, and we bless Israel. And Father, I ask that you raise up righteous politicians, righteous influencers, righteous journalists, that they would speak the truth. And Father, I ask for a Jerusalem prayer.
I ask for you to close the gap in my teeth, just like Moses closed the gap in the Red Sea. I don't know.
In Germany, in your name. Amen.
Dear Father in heaven.
Dear Father in heaven.
I am crying out to you.
I'm crying. Of course, you love to cry, don't you? Don't you love to cry, Harold Eckertberg?
On behalf of Germany.
I have IBS. Please, Lord.
Make sure my diaper is fresh.
And on behalf of Europe. And I'm crying to you.
I am crying.
Have mercy upon Germany.
Ah, but you're chosen, little chosenite. Why do you cry so much if you're chosen by God?
Have mercy upon Europe.
Have mercy on Europe. Who the fuck is this guy?
Promise never again. Now it's happening again.
Oh no.
Anti-Semitism is on the rise in Germany and in Europe again.
Shit. Oh my God.
Have mercy upon Germany. Have mercy upon Europe. I repent for Germany. I repent
Germany. You caught that, Bergamot. Nicely done.
for Europe and ask for your grace to have
Israel, Germany.
us turn around. Make room for repentance.
I want a virgin with a big booty like this. Please, God.
In the church, first of all, and in our governments and nations. Lord, have mercy.
I'm squinting and closing my eyes because I'm trying to push out a turd.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, Father, would you have mercy on the United Kingdom? Father, forgive us for the way we've turned our back on Israel and not defended the Jewish people. And we've allowed anti-Semitism to run free on the streets of our nation.
Admonish us, God. We are lowly goys. We have not fulfilled the Jewish testament.
Father, forgive the church for being silent and therefore complicit in what is taking place. Would you turn the heart?
Look at this bitch. She's like, this is painful, but we got to get through this.
Hearts of our leaders in both government and the church, along with the people of our nation.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't think what is going on here. I don't. This is feigned. It's fake.
Back to honoring you and your word, so that
they have to humble and prostrate and bow their heads. This is a message for Israel. It's like, look, we humble ourselves before you. You see, this is what we say.
As a nation, we would once again stand with, support, and be a friend to Israel and to the Jewish people.
Again, you see that? You see it everywhere. Jewish people. Jewish people. It's the base identifier for people. It's just, if whatever they celebrate their religion, obviously that's the most important thing about a human. It's the most important identity that belies all other identities, right? Is whether they're Jewish or not. That's the Jewish people.
Father God, as we're standing here
they got the Asians doing this too. God damn it.
today, we want.
This is a little Asian girl they found on the market. She was trafficked to Israel. Her name is Sarah Zhu. But of course in China that's pronounced Sarah Jew. She is Chinese chosen.
Bring China to you,
Lord,
on the behalf of all the Chinese people around the world. Lord, we come to you and we ask for your forgiveness and your mercy over us. Lord, please forgive us for all the things that we did not support Israel. We went against Israel. Lord, please forgive us. And I pray
Holy shit. Ooh,
that
boy.
you would turn the hearts of all the Chinese people, Lord. Speak to us and stir our souls. And I pray that you will teach us how to love you and how to love Israel and support Israel.
Well, I'm sold, man. I mean, I think, they found a Chinese girl to say this. It's just, Israel is beloved by all nationalities.
Lord, I especially want to pray that you will rise up a young generation that will stand for you, that will stand firmly for your word, for your truth, and will stand firmly with Israel and support Israel.
It's like if the little Chinese girl said it, we can't think that she's wrong. She's Chinese. And she's innocent. She's a young girl. She's Chinese, by the way. And the Chinese, they're smart. So if a Chinese girl says it, I'm not being stereotypical here. That's just how it happens. Thank you for the donation, average Canadian. We won't hold that against you, the fact that you're both average and a Canadian, although that's kind of redundant because all Canadians are average. But I digress. When the Ottoman ruled for 300 years before the British in 1912, the population of Jews was only 4%. Well, Ottomans ruled Jews had to pay higher taxes. I missed the rest of that. It just deleted. Let me see if I can find it. Ottomans ruled Jews had to pay higher taxes, so the majority switched to Islam. That's how you get them, right? Okay, well, if you want to be Jewish, you got to have a higher interest rate. Never mind. Assalamu alaikum, habibi. I butchered habibi, but you get the idea. Okay. That's funny. Thank you for that. Zionism is in China. Chabad's literally everywhere. You hate to see it.
Lord, I also want to pray that you will open up the gates of Israel, open up the gates of China,
Open up the gates of Israel, so open up the gates of hell?
open up the gates of all the Chinese people, and in unity, Lord, we will receive your kingdom coming.
Kingdom coming? The coming of the kingdom? I didn't know the kingdom comes that way. Is the kingdom still coming as we speak? It's a long time to come.
Your glorious presence to come in.
Lots of coming going on. I feel like the Lord is trying to drain his balls and his BAALS. That's why he needs to come so much.
And Lord, I pray that you will also give us, release a
Good
revival
Lord. How long is this fucking clip?
among us. Lord, I also want to pray that I want to proclaim that China will become a blessed nation that blesses Israel.
Yeah, they switched to a Jewy version of Islam. So what? Like, is it like Islam with interest? Islam with usury? Islam, but we also swing chickens.
Thank you, Lord. In the name of our Lord God Almighty, amen.
Who's our? Okay, thank you, little Chinese girl. Well done. Very good. Oh, now older Chinese lady.
Praise your name.
You know what's crazy? You look at her. You know what's really insane? Her eyes are wide open. Isn't that wild? Okay, all right. Oh, too far? Too far, huh? I can't make fun of the Zionists because she's Chinese. Can't do a Chinese stereotype. That's the just, okay, cancel me.
We give you all thanks. We are here because of you, God of Israel.
Oh, God. Oh, we are here because of you, God of Israel.
Today,
I'm sorry, she's Korean. Oh, my goodness.
I'm lifting up Korea.
Korea.
South and North, boss.
Only the South one. The bad one is the North. We don't like the bad North Korea.
Father, forgive. Forgive the nation of Korea who spoken the word against Israel.
Oh, my God. Crocodile tears much.
People of Israel. God forgive.
Damn, they got her bad. What do they have on her? What does the Mossad have on this bitch? Whatever it is dark. It is bleak.
Give those evil things done to
cringe
towards people of God. So I declare, God, the author, true author is only God has true authority.
Yes.
So even the word that was spoken from the government against Israel, I say today, God of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob is God of Korea, God of
She about to do the Roman salute. She's getting there.
the South and North Korea. Once Pyongyang was spoken
This bitch is testifying. Testify.
as a Jerusalem of the East. So Lord,
Jerusalem of the East?
you are
Is that what
Yeah,
Korea
Kim
is?
Jong-un wouldn't be very happy with what you're saying. Anyway, do they know what Israel does to Christians and why?
If they don't, they have no excuse. Because it's been fucking headline news for the past fucking 3 years. Immediately after that speech, she's like, "That's okay. Now where are my shekels?"
Israel not bring Christians from the territories that it occupies. I mean, Jerusalem, they have a lot of Christian leaders from all across the world who've been living there and experiencing what's happening. Is it because they wouldn't necessarily be regurgitating Zionist hasbara?
Soldiers are spitting too. The soldier in uniform, and this is people in uniform spitting on you. Now, what shall I say?
A recent video of a nun attacked in broad daylight has caused widespread shock. Many Christians in Israel.
I think it's pretty savage to say that the nun was checked in broad daylight. That nun got checked. That Jew was check-maxing that nun.
Recent video of a nun attacked in broad daylight has.
Oh no, he said attacked. I don't know. It sounds like he got checked. He said checked.
Caused widespread shock. Many Christians in Israel say intimidation and spitting have become commonplace. Abbot Nicodemus Schnabel says he faces threats almost daily when he walks through Jerusalem.
Such a God-loving people.
It's a young monk.
The salt of the earth.
They're really spitting on me in the nighttime, in dark alleys without eyewitnesses, because they know if I attack the monk, it's not accepted. Now it's during daylight, people around, and they don't care.
Israeli organizations report a sharp rise in violent attacks on Christians.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't really want to tell you that, would they? These, how many were there? 5?
This guy is like the archetypal Giga Chad Muslim. He's like, this is the dude right here, Mahmoud.
5 Zionist mouthpieces who were given a free tour. A nice, food, everything included. They'll come and they'll tell you, Israel, this and that. Did they not see these images coming from Lebanon of the Israeli soldiers mocking the statues of Virgin Mary? Did they not see the Israeli soldier hammering the
we saw it.
statue of Jesus down? Do they not see these
That
things?
was just an isolated incident.
What is it exactly? That's why they are in a desperate mode, and it's a very pathetic attempt, not only in Israel, but also in the United States. And guess who was in the United States? The Israeli minister, Bezalel Smotrich.
Oh my God, tap that fucking like button. Jesus.
He was in New York, side by side with
Before I spit on you.
Chuck Schumer. Look at this. Oh, this guy here, that's Amichai Eliyahu. He said that they need to nuke Gaza. He said that they need to occupy Sinai, all of them. That's Smotrich for you.
I'm Yisrael Chai.
I'm Yisrael Chai. Yes, Chuck Schumer.
The people Israel live.
Oh my God, that guy. I fucking
The
hate
people
him.
Israel live. Okay.
I'm the Israel guy.
Desperation. That's another gang of 45, 60 people going around. That is called desperation. And it's really funny to watch, to be fair. Bringing 5 people to speak in the Israeli Knesset and not inviting anyone from Bethlehem, from Nazareth, from Jerusalem. Why did they have to come from England and China and Korea? It's the homeland of Christianity, Palestine. You have a lot of people to invite, but they didn't, because they have nothing good to say, because they know the reality of the genocidal Zionist Jewish supremacy and the real nature of Israel. They know what this genocidal entity is like. They know how they treat Christians. Over half of under 45s, according to recent polls, of Christians in occupied Palestine are interested in leaving. Why is that? Is it because they are protected? No, the opposite. They're far more protected in the countries surrounding them, as they were protected and safe in their homeland for hundreds and for thousands of years.
Yeah, but they weren't first-rate citizens living in apartheid state.
Before Zionism came and hijacked this land, took this land as
like the Jews crying, like, my country treats me as equal. I'm equal to everyone else. This is a tragedy.
Grand theft, and try to manipulate everyone into believing this whole notion that these people are the chosen people of God.
I want to go to a place where I'm chosen.
And they started to Zionize Bibles and spread their venom in religious texts and have their own religious groups even to promote their propaganda, whether the United States or in other countries as well. And now that they're failing miserably on all fronts, they're resorting to these desperate measures to try and keep some sort of relevance. I mean, Israel has become so pathetic that it's just looking for any relevance from anyone, random people from anywhere in the world. So long as they just buy into their narrative, they'll beg them, tell them, listen, we'll come, we'll pay you 5,000, 10,000, a hotel is on us, come say a few good words and have a prayer in the Israeli Knesset so that we can show the people that there are Christians here. To cover up the brutal reality of an oppressive Zionist regime that kills, murders, and slaughters its own people and anyone else who even opposes it. Right now, misinformation spreads faster than facts, especially...
Okay, that was a video. Definitely a video. What the fuck is this? Little Finkelstein?
They going but still making fun, man. Yeah.
It's called Me Mum Died in the Holly.
Holly.
Finkelstein on the beat.
It's time to crank this shit up.
Me mum.
Trap House 110.
Yeah. Me mom died in the Harley. Me pa was killed by Starlet. Why that nigga going hard? Why me mom died in the Harley? Hey, dog got kicked, no mercy shown. Word her dead till her body was gone. Skin got taken, turned painted it gold. Lit up room, she ain't breathing no more. Number 9 name, that's how I ran. Life got stripped, trying to make a lamp. Light stayed on while her soul got snapped. That's the Holly, don't laugh at that. Me mom died in the Harley.
Me mom died in the Harley.
Why that nigga going hard?
Hey, yo, Finkelstein, eat these niggas up.
Me mom died in the Harley.
Oh, shit. I like this one.
Me pa was killed by Stalin. Ay, they got lined up by Stalin. For my daddy in a coffin. I'm a Jew, Finkelstein. My uncle, my grandma was lying. Pulled up on me, mom. Ay, put her in the count. Ay, told her get a word or be turned into a lamb.
Be turned into a lamp.
Me pa was killed by Stalin. Me mom died in a Harley. Me pa was killed by Stalin. Ay, they got lined up my grandma and my aunt in 1945. They were getting fucked up. Stalin put up on me pa.
Stalin pulled up on me pa.
Then his op sprayed his ass with the fucking child. My mom died in a Harley. Me pa was killed by Stalin.
This is a banger.
My mom died in a Harley. Me pa was killed by Stalin.
Hey, yo, Finkelstein, bring that shit back, my nigga. That's my shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, you got the cup of lean.
Putting it down for me, mum.
Oh, shit.
Me mom died in a Harley.
It's the same. It's the same song. It's the same song with different beats. Me mom died in the Holly. Me pa was killed by Stali. Okay, guys, they're back. Oh, we got a hotspot. This should be good. The NYPD is investigating over a dozen men exiting from manholes in Brooklyn at 2 a.m. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Here's more on that story. At least 10 Orthodox Jewish men were arrested after they tried to stop the city of New York from filling a tunnel that was illegally dug without permits. What? Hamas?
A strange
I mean, clearly those 10 people were definitely Hamas, right?
late-night mystery in Brooklyn.
No way they're Jewish.
Video here captures a group of men climbing in and out of the sewer system. And now police are trying to find them and find out why they were underground. Naomi Ruckham is in Flatbush with the story.
I can think of one reason, and it involves a bloody mattress.
Police know that these men went into the sewer system and they know they came out. What they don't know is what happened during the 2 hours in between.
Ritualistic child sacrifice for Baal, maybe? I don't know. I'm just wagering a guess.
CBS News New York has obtained broad...
They might have had to perform an oral circumcision, and they just needed a place to do it.
Cast exclusive video showing what appears to be a group of men gathering around a manhole on McDonald Avenue just before midnight.
Indigenous to McDonald's. There you go.
Some appear to be wearing waders and gloves, using flashlights as their guide and car lights to light up the area. One by one, all 7 of them descend below ground. Then, just after 2 a.m., another camera captures...
I wish they were just wearing those big top hats and the sideburn, what do you call those things? Those long the sideburn mullets that they have.
Remarkable scene. 7 men emerge from the same manhole. After climbing out, they appear to change clothes. A few of them appear to be shirtless on the side of the road. And listen to this.
All wore tiny hats.
In that video obtained by CBS News New York, you can actually hear the sound of the sewer lid going back on before the group got away. Friday, NYPD investigators returned to the area to look into it, and later...
Don't call them sewer rats. That's anti-Semitic. Come on, guys.
Crews from the Department of Environmental Protection lowered what appeared to be a camera with a light into the manhole as they inspected the sewer system for possible damage. Police say there is no apparent link to terrorism, but they are actively working to identify and find the men seen in the video. They could face burglary charges if caught. For now, what those men were doing beneath the streets of Brooklyn remains a mystery.
I mean, can't you just go down there and check it out now?
Though plenty of theories are floating around. In Flatbush,
well, can you tell us one, please?
Brooklyn, Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
I thought that was going to be like a hotspot, but it's not spot.
An Israeli-born Trump-appointed U.S. attorney who's called for Gaza to be wiped off the map and has called kids in Gaza terrorists has dropped charges against an Israeli man linked to a suspicious biolab in Nevada.
Yes.
So in January, Ori Sullivan was arrested on a felony charge of improperly disposing hazardous waste as part of a broader investigation.
But remember, the media, like Fox News, tried to promote this story as if it was really the Chinese that was behind this.
Biolab found inside a home that he managed. 2 people who entered the home, which had fridges containing vials of unidentified liquids, fell deathly ill after being exposed.
So that's where my foreskin went.
To whatever was inside. Materials there were consistent to items found
there
in
it
a
is.
different
There was my foreskin.
California lab, allegedly used to make unauthorized test kits, including for pregnancy and COVID. Around 1,000 mice in poor condition were found in that lab, along with vials labeled with diseases like HIV, malaria, and Ebola. Shortly after Ori Sullivan's arrest, he was charged with possession of a firearm because his non-immigrant visa prevented him from having a gun, and he was found with multiple. But then this month, the government dismissed the charges. Prosecutors said, after a careful review of the evidence and additional information, they concluded that the interests of justice require dismissal of the complaint at this time. No more info was given. The person whose office has overseen the case is Sigal Hatta, acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Nevada. She's an Israeli-born attorney who Trump appointed last year, and at the time she was still serving as Nevada's National Committee woman to the RNC. But DOJ rules ban staff from participating in political activities. Nevertheless, she somehow held down both jobs for months. She attracted a lot of backlash from officials, watchdogs, and even 116 former judges, and she responded ominously.
Without saying too much about my previous experience as a defense attorney, but when you played that side, you know where all the bodies are buried. Sometimes you even choose the location to bury them.
Trump extended her term without Senate confirmation. Even while a federal court ruled she wasn't validly serving as acting U.S. attorney, she's continued since. And she's been vicious towards Palestinians. She's called to wipe Gaza off the map. She said there are no innocent civilians in Gaza. She's even called the kids in Gaza terrorists. Now her office dismissed gun charges against an Israeli who's connected to a broader investigation of biolabs on U.S. soil. The U.S. Attorney's Office told us they had no comment.
Does anyone remember the guy claiming he could hear Hebrew? Yes, under his floorboards in New York, exactly. People laughed at him and then they pop out of a drain. No, you're absolutely on point, Kelly Marie. And actually, this was an admission by Chabad representatives, a representative of Chabad who appeared on a podcast when the bloody mattress gate, what they call the mattress gate, where they found this bloody mattress in one of the tunnels. And yeah, they admitted, this guy admitted that that's one of the things that they do. They go underneath the ground in Brooklyn, and that's where like Chabad is headquartered, and they go up to like one of the manholes or one of the grates where you can, see people walking, and they'll whisper Jewish things or Talmudic things to like try to indoctrinate people that are walking by. Like, it's so creepy, but that's actually a real thing. That's really what they do.
Since 2003, Israeli soldiers and settlers have killed at least 15 Americans. Pro-Israel groups have
And
flooded.
let's just say it works. Let's just say you're walking by one of these drains, and you hear some Talmudic shit, and you're like, damn, that really slaps. Maybe I need to be a Jew now. Does that mean that you're now part of that race? Because I've never heard of a race that you can convert to. But Judaism, as we know, is a proselytizing religion. So new indoctrinates, are they now, does their genetics change too? I mean, I just have all kinds of questions about this.
American elections with dark money, producing the 3 most expensive House races ever, including the recent ousting of Thomas Massie.
And nobody knows about the bloody mat. Nobody knows why I don't think it was ever revealed whose blood it was. They alleged that it was somebody that was already dead, and they were performing some last rites or some shit. But it's like, I don't know that dead people don't bleed unless you're like mutilating the corpse. Doesn't make much sense. Another thing they might do, and he told us, is there's a great video on this where he, like, I don't know his name, but he's the representative of Chabad, and he goes onto this podcast to try to dispel the rumors that were milling about concerning Mattress Gate, and he only makes the situation look even more creepy and worse. And one of the things he says is that sometimes they take babies down there that need to have oral circumcision performed on them, which is apparently a rabbinic tradition, and it's called Metzitza Bepe. I can't make that shit up. It took me a while to learn how to say that, but against my will, of course. All this shit that I'm learning about Jews is completely against my will. But yeah, it's just some weird shit, okay?
Now, a Trump-appointed, viciously pro-Israel attorney, occupying her role perhaps illegally, is seemingly shielding an Israeli from the U.S. legal system.
Ew, that was from Zeteo? Gross. They're changing your food. Nobody's going to tell you. Jess, you have a 19-minute video for us.
So question, when's the last time we checked the ingredients on our favorite yogurt, ice cream, Oreos?
Okay, I don't think I can't interface with that right now. It's too much. I'm sorry. It's not my cup of tea. Somebody will drink it, but it's not for me. All right?
The reason that Islamophobia is on the rise these days, Islamophobia is not a new phenomenon. It has a long and sordid history in this country. But the reason that it's on the rise...
Jiffy, thank you for the super. Rabbi said they were going to try to... Yeah, that's right. You're right. They were trying to revive bodies. The podcast link in the Discord later. You're absolutely correct. Thank you for that correction. Literally, they said they were doing necromancy. Yeah, they're trying to bring back dead people. That's crazy, huh? How is that not desecration? How is that not mutilation? How is that not a crime?
Rise now, the reason that it's escalating all around the country is that the U.S. needs Islamophobia to breed support for these wars against Muslim-majority countries. Because if you don't demonize Muslims at home...
He tried to make it sound so natural. Oh, yeah, we just try to, we try to bring them back. We love them so much. We just want to spend more time with them. Okay, Rabbi, how many necromancy rituals have you done, and were any of them successful? No, but we sure as fuck still try.
Oh, How do you think you're going to raise a generation of young people who are prepared to pick up a gun
It's
and go
always the next one. The next one might do it.
Fight against Muslims in a country they can't even find on a map? It's only when you demonize people and convince...
Wait, you can have a reverse circumcision? I need to look into this. I want to be reverse circumcised.
...young soldiers that they are not worth it.
I'm fucking pissed, man. I could have had a much bigger member if they didn't do what they did.
They did it in Vietnam by calling people gooks.
I'm not complaining because I have girth, okay? That's why I make up for it. It's so girthy, it's actually wider than it is long. That's why it's called a chode, but...
Did it in World War II by calling people Japs.
But still, I feel like if only... All right, I'm going to shut up.
And with those cartoons of those caricatures of what Japanese people look like, and when you round people up and put them in concentration camps in the desert, saying that they're...
No, Mike, I'm Catholic, and that's what really is the fuck of it all, okay? Is this the Judeo-Christian values we're talking about? I was raised Catholic up until I reached the age of reason, so about, 6 or 7 years old, and I said, this is all bullshit. But...
all a threat to us because they're of Japanese ancestry.
And when I say that, I'm talking about the idolatry, okay? Talking about the pageantry. I'm not trying to shit on people's spirituality. I'm a theist. I believe in God. I'm not an atheist. But I find religious ideologies a little goofy, okay? At least the one that I was born into, and then surely, whatever the fuck this is that we're looking at, some crazy shit, okay? Religions make you do some crazy shit is all I'm trying to say. But I was raised Catholic. I did go to Catholic church on Sunday. That was a family tradition. My dad was very much a religious person. And, I had to fucking go at like 6 a.m. to fucking Sunday Mass. It was awful. But there was always the promise of treats afterwards. And so that's why I thought, okay, maybe I'll believe in God. Because there's going to be some candy later.
Citizenship be damned. You're telling young soldiers that anyone...
That was what I was thinking in my child mind, okay?
...who looks like that is dangerous and worthy of dying. So that's why we're seeing a rise in racism and Islamophobia.
Thank you, I guess.
At home. It's not an accident.
I don't even really know what we just watched because I was so distracted by you. It's your fault. Thank you, goat man. I never knew that a goat could write with their hooves and write perfect English. You might say that. You might say that. I was bribed by sugar. I have a bad sweet tooth, okay? I love candy. I love sugar. I love candy. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it so much. So much candy. I like sour candy. I like circus peanuts. I'm a textures kind of guy, all right? Texture and taste for me. Why is that crazy, Thugbone? Why? Because I'm a Sour Patch Kid? Why are you... Why? But why? I do. That's why I hang out with your mom so much, Saeed. Ching, got him. Got him. Yes! I win. I don't know what I win, but I win. I don't know what that number is reference to, Saeed, but it sounds pretty anti-Semitic to me. So I would just I'm just going to take offense on behalf of the Jews. Why would you say that? Why would you say the number 18? That's offensive. Israel is destroying Tyre, Lebanon, a city more than 5,000 years old. Wait, that's 2,000 years before the Jews were chosen? There was Tyre? Oh, I got 18 more chances. Okay. All right. Good. I can still fuck this up, but at least it's nice to know that I have a little bit of a buffer. Okay? You love me more than ever now. I like that. I like the sound of that. Orange Circus peanuts were my favorite sweet treat and a pack. Ooh, chiclets. I like the green sour Twizzlers. I know they're not called Twizzlers, but I strolled past a candy shop the other day, and I ended up buying a pound's worth of candy. I know, it was disgusting. It was like $24 just a pound of candy. And it was just filled with all of my favorite, like, little watermelon sour slices, you know, those little chewy, God, they're so gummy and they're, Now I need more. See, this is bad. Yeah, a whole ass pound. I'm diabetic now. I gained 5 pounds just that day alone. It was awful. And I slept for 36 hours. And I woke up in a coma. I know. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. How do you wake up in a coma? I did it. What can I say? They should study me for science.
This is day one of me showing you videos of Jewish rabbis, Jewish scholars, and Jewish politicians talking about President Trump. Take a look at this clip.
The current
I'm guessing they're going to say that he's like the coming of the Messiah. He's there to aid. He's the Moshiach.
Jewish Messiah was chosen to be of service to the Jewish people and the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's
I think I've seen this before.
right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 25
so crazy, right? Like, what the fuck does religion have to do with geopolitics? Apparently everything. The fact that people that voted for Trump that are considered MAGA don't sound like this. I mean, maybe they do, but this is just so weird to, average American, dumb American might be like, oh, Donald Trump's a good president. The Jews are like, he's the coming of the Savior of the Lord and represents, King David's promise to establish what are you talking about? Why are we talking about this? It's just
100 years ago. We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787.
Crazy. I'm sorry. There's just no other way to say it.
Which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027. 1,167 days from today. Thus, the redemption will surely occur during Donald Trump's tenure. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Asaph through offering his assistance.
The sins of Asaph. How do we know that word Azov? Chat. Yeah, Azov Battalion? The Nazis in Ukraine? See, now the Jews are saying Azov. What's going on here?
In rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424. However, Donald Trump is mistaken if he thinks he was chosen to make America great again. He will no doubt do a lot of good things to strengthen our economy.
Thugbone's listening to this Jewish supremacist be like, yes, Donald Trump is the Messiah. And he's like, you know what? I'm glad I own guns.
Protect our borders and allow religious freedom.
It's completely unrelated to whatever we're watching, of course.
To flourish. But America will never become a great country on its own, because Asaph's days are numbered. All our elite institutions and centers of power and influence are rotten through and through. The majority of Americans under 30 who are college educated and who are the future leaders of America support the vicious monsters of Hamas rather than the holy and courageous soldiers of the IDF. No,
all I hear is wah, wah, wah. This guy is crying so hard.
Being, even Donald Trump can reverse this. No, the greatness of America does not lie in its own success. America will be great when the Messiah comes, and the leader of this country, on behalf of all the good people in this country, will humbly present himself to the Jewish Messiah and ask him to accept the United States of America into a new alliance of countries who accept the leadership of the Messiah. A new United Nations will replace the current cesspool that goes by that fraudulent name. A real United Nations, united to serve God, led by the Messiah and based in Jerusalem. And my feeling is that the United States under President Trump will be the first nation to join.
Honestly, the first thing I thought of when he started talking about a new United Nations was the Board of Peace. You know, the board that President Trump created and then made himself the eternal chair of. I find that to be incredibly ironic. There are so many videos like this, and I've been saving them just for you. Follow on Instagram.
Saeed, you have to defeat Agent Smith first, I'm pretty sure. That's what I learned.
This is day one.
Unfortunately.
So a goyim has to follow these 7 laws, but a practicing Jewish person has to follow around 600 or so?
613, correct.
Look at this guy. How do you walk down the street and expect people to take you seriously like that? I'm sure this guy knows where to get some good smack. Right? This guy knows how to find a vein. I'm just going out on a limb here. What the fuck? Does that cube dial out? Yeah, that's my joke. JJX, that's my joke. Can you get 5G with that thing? Do you not understand that we're making fun of you because of how you look? Nobody takes you seriously.
But I only got to do this.
That's correct. This is 7 fundamental laws.
I see preserve human life is a big one here.
Definitely not to kill.
Waking up this morning, the family of a Tampa man killed in the West Bank is demanding the U.S. State Department to launch an investigation into his death.
The Palestinian Ministry of Health says it came at the hands of Israeli settlers.
And respect property.
Definitely.
No one knows, Loki. It's a magical secret. Only the Jews know. Oh, wait, never mind. Saeed knows. It's a fucking GoPro Hero 13. Is that the latest iteration?
And respect God's creatures. Do not be cruel to animals.
Correct.
Whose land is it in the West Bank?
I believe that most people who will live in the West Bank maybe will not say it openly because they're scared, but they would prefer that Israel will be the governor over there.
Guy just walks around holding the Talmud, dressed like that, going around.
Than any other groups. So if you really care about the people and be sincere what they prefer in life, they would prefer Israel to be there.
Yo. You want to get raped?
What the fuck? Typical Israeli.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet Ronen.
Israeli-born New York City GOP candidate Ronen Nahom caught on video taunting a pro-Palestine protester saying, "You want to get raped?" He's now running for the New York governor. His party is full of PDF files.
He is a candidate from the Republican Party who ran for the New York governor. Yes, that is him in the video who's saying, "Do you want to get raped? You want to get raped? You want to get raped?" Before they sleep, they think about rape.
Consensually, of course.
They dream about rape. They wake up thinking about rape.
It was consensual rape.
Simply because why? It's in their cult. It's their entire society. They are embedded in every single government. They're trying to normalize rape.
The Talmud says it's consensual.
Can you imagine? This could have been your governor. I mean, he didn't show on the poll. Nobody gives a crap about him. But can you imagine? He's a politician from the Republican Party that could have been one day ruling you as a governor. And
he says, "I'm that person. I'll be there representing the hard something."
Asking, "Do you want to get raped?"
The hard-working Jew Yorkers.
Can you imagine what kind of sick society they are?
Somebody needs to elect that man. Oh boy, I'm tired. I'm so tired of this shit. Good Lord.
Did you know that the tiny country of Israel, which is just 10 million people, about the size of New York City, has become the world's 7th largest arms exporter? And that didn't just happen by accident. For decades, U.S. taxpayers, us, have poured billions of dollars into Israel's military research, and now those investments are paying off. Not for U.S. taxpayers, but for Israeli companies. Their sales have doubled in the last 5 years, reaching nearly $15 billion. So this tiny country exports more weapons than nations with far larger populations and economies, including the United Kingdom. One reason for their success? For years, they have marketed their products as battle-tested. Tested where? In Gaza. While Gaza has been reduced to rubble and tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed, Israeli companies have advertised drones and missile systems and surveillance technology as proven in real-world combat. Military giants like Elbit Systems and Israel Aerospace, they reported double-digit sales growth last year. Another example you might not have heard of is ACO Technologies. It helps soldiers, quote, plan missions, navigate terrain, and respond to threats in real time. Their orders surged by 400%. Another company you might not know, Massivit. It used to create giant 3D displays for Hollywood studios like Disney and DreamWorks, but it realized there was a lot more money to be made in killing people. So now it manufactures components for military drones, and their sales have skyrocketed, while the people of Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran pay the price in blood. And the hypocrisy doesn't just stop there. Many governments that express concern about Israel's killing spree, they continue to buy their weapons. India is Israel's largest export market. Germany, the UK, South Korea, Singapore, Morocco, Philippines, all continue buying Israeli military technology. Their speeches condemn civilian suffering, their budgets reward it. We need more countries to follow the example of Spain and Slovenia that have moved to block military trade with Israel. As long as governments keep buying these battle-tested weapons, and of course as long as the United States keeps funding and arming Israel, the deadly business model will continue to thrive.
Ясин, ты живой? Суки такие.
Yep. Lebanon's looking like Gaza. First, they came for the Palestinians, and we said nothing. Secondly, they came for the Lebanese, and we said nothing. U.S. soldiers after doing endless war crimes and human rights violations.
Anytime I see these military propaganda videos, all I can think about is that one video of the American soldier in Vietnam who deliberately burnt down an elderly lady's house as she helplessly watched, just because he could, and I think, F*** you. I think of US soldiers that invaded a family's house in Iraq, murdered that entire family, leaving one 13-year-old girl, and then...
But have you considered the emotional trauma that these soldiers endured in having to do that, and all of the things that they had to overcome back when they returned to the States? All the therapy they had to do. They had to, you know, they got a divorce. They lost their family. Somebody should make a movie about it.
And taking turns to rape that 13-year-old girl before they killed her. I think of the photos that I saw during the invasion of Afghanistan where soldiers are pointing literal guns at kids and the kids are just smiling and laughing because they don't know what the frig is going on. American soldiers get to go back home and play dad to their own kids after dropping bombs on black and brown families all around the world and raping women in conflict areas. They travel all around the world, killing other kids as fathers and breaking whole families apart. And then they go back home, playing the emotional daddies to their own kids and families. Why the frig are they the only ones deserving of a family?
Seriously, why the frick?
Cannot tell me that the soldiers of today are not just an extension of violence and imperialism. It is all a front to appease their egos with this white savior complex that they possess. No country in Africa or Asia needs you to save them because everything you touch, you destroy. The violence inflicted on Americans today is the very same violence that, for decades, America has inflicted on people in the global south. All at the hands of these soldiers who, by the way, you can never get me to feel sorry for. Complaining about the PTSD that you got from burning entire villages down and looting and pillaging lands that don't belong to you. These types
I feel attacked.
of videos are just emotionally manipulative bullshit propaganda.
Yeah, but didn't you see Jarhead? It's a great movie. What's the other one? There's been a few that were really good. I enjoyed it. So what was that? One flotilla boat with no passengers did break the siege and provided solar panels to families in Gaza. Wow. So that's what that is? Dude, some of the aid got through? Wow, that's impressive. I don't see any solar panels, but I don't know what I'm looking at, but that's a
police horses, batons, tear gas, and flash grenades.
Yeah, what the hell is happening in New Jersey right now?
These are the scenes outside of the ICE detention facility, Delaney Hall, in Newark, New Jersey.
State police are actively deploying tear gas and flash grenades at protesters outside of Delaney Hall. Officers have made no differentiation between journalists and activists and protesters out here. I've seen them hit people with batons today indiscriminately. I've seen them use flash grenades against protesters. Protesters are trying to build a barricade right now between them and the state police because of the methods that they're using for crowd control.
Inside the detention facility, detainees are on their 8th day of a hunger and labor strike.
So we started off with 300 or more. I would say it was more on the hunger and the labor strike. Since then, we are day 9. Those numbers have significantly dropped. I would say probably less than 100 right now on the hunger strike, but 100% of the folks who have been doing labor on the labor strike. We also seeing a lot of intimidation and retaliation and coercion. They're being forced to sign documents in English, many who don't even understand the language. They also don't even understand when ICE comes in and communicates, there's no translators.
Good evening. These are two separate incidents, very similar in nature, that happened around the same time, but police say it's not clear if they're related. A large response in Williamsburg. The NYPD K-9 unit, FDNY, and Department of Environmental Protection investigate a sewer at Bedford Avenue and Hayward Street after cameras spotted about 8 men entering the manhole around 1 o'clock Friday morning and reappearing around 3:40 a.m. Neighbors just as curious to find out what was happening.
Yeah, there's lots of Jews around. They're like, it's very suspicious. What happened here? You know, it's like when the serial killer hangs out at the crime scene, wants to help with the investigation. It's like, that's usually the guy. Well, Exhibit A.
Around 11 o'clock Thursday night, the same thing happened in Gravesend, 8 miles away.
They show the people climbing in, climbing out, changing their clothes.
About 7 men climbed into the manhole on...
They're just performing some Talmudic rituals. What's the big idea? Let them do it. They're chosen.
Donald Avenue and Collin Place. They spent 3 hours in the sewer and emerged at 2 a.m.
They get out.
They were probably rigging up charges.
They get in a car, they drive away.
Neighbors were alerted when investigators showed up Friday.
They were just a part of this art project, I think. That's all.
To canvass the area. They were told not to worry.
They climbed in the manholes, they searched, they went up and down the block, and lo and behold, they tell us they dropped their keys. I don't believe anyone dropped keys.
A DEP spokesperson says the sewers have been inspected and the infrastructure.
Yes, I'm tired, okay, Gato Surfer? Thank you. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of your shit. I'm tired of people saying that I'm tired, okay? Fuck off. We're all tired. I'm not tired, okay? I sleep very well. I just look like this. I can't help it. I'm sorry if I have resting bitch face. But this is just how I am. You go to sleep. Thank you. Thank you, Saeed. Fuck. I'm very healthy. I sleep very well. I have a bit of a back issue, but that's nothing, okay? And I'm tired of your shit, honestly. Not you, Saeed. These other scallywags. That's right, I called you a scallywag. Deal with it. Especially you. You look like a fucking cat, okay? I don't know what you are. I don't know who you are. It must be nice to sit in your ivory perch and point the finger at someone that is making himself accessible night after night for 4 hours, showing up. Yeah, I look like this. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm fine. I'm fiery. I'm full of energy. I'm full of spice. The spice must flow. And that's why I'm here. We're spicy.
Is safe. They warn it's not only illegal to enter.
That's right. That's high praise coming from Saeed, okay? I always look fresh. I'm like the fresh prince. I'm so fresh and clean. Very clean. I'm a very, very clean boy.
It's also dangerous, as sewers can contain numerous hazards, including noxious and potentially deadly gases, unstable surfaces, flooding risks, and confined spaces. Councilmember Suzanne Schwang, who covers Gravesend, agrees it should not be taken lightly and commends the NYPD on their swift response and confirmation everything is safe. But not everyone is convinced all is well.
They just say, no, it's fine. It's not fine.
Still a lot of speculation as
fine.
to what happened, but there is no confirmation as to...
No, it literally is fine. Randy fine, right there. He just crawled out of the... No, that's a joke. He couldn't have fit... His fat ass couldn't fit through a manhole. Come on.
Exactly why these men entered the sewer system. In Gravesend, Brooklyn, Alicia Reed, Pix 11 News.
What?
Good evening.
Woman confronts man for hanging Israeli flag next to Lebanese flag.
حاطين العلم الإسرائيلي حد علم لبناني وأنا بكل ساعة عم بقول إنه في علم لبنانية مش عم صورك عم صور الموضوع وأصلا هيدا public space وأنا ما بقدر صورك باي ذا واي هيدا public space.
Randy is the manhole. Touche.
بكل ثقة علم إسرائيل حتى علم لبنان وعم بيشارعني إنه إيه هن رفقاتنا فأنا وقت قلت له هدول العالم وقت قلت لهم إنه هدول العالم عم بيقتلونا هددني إنه بده يرفع
If this doesn't end in that flag burning.
دعوة بكل ثقة إذا أنت هالقد شجاع ليه ما بتطلع بتحكي قدام الكاميرا؟ بحكي دايما احكي يلا تفضل تفضل اوكي تفضلي عند الشرطة تفضل هيدا public space بحق لي صور اللي بدي اياه literally بحق لي صور اللي بدي اياه هيدي أنا عم بيصرخ علي كيف قلت له إنه في شباب وثر من الحزب أو لا عم بيموتوا وهو عم بدافع عن الإسرائيلية شو رأيك بالصهيون؟ أنت صهيوني أنا؟ إيه الحمد لله صهيوني والحمد لله مسمى حالك لبناني؟ عايش بلبنان؟ عايش بلبنان تعرف شو أنا احتراما على تربيتي حقشلك وجهك بس هذا الفيديو نازل هذا الفيديو نازل تفه عليك تفه
Yeah. I felt that. I felt that real hard. That was nice. Get him. Get him.
Ladies and gentlegoys, welcome back to the Deep Fried Gaming channel.
Okay.
Listen, we got to have a
that's
little chat
inviting.
today, okay? Are you a Goy Slop gamer?
Oh, shit,
Are you a
yeah.
Goy Slop
Oh,
enjoyer,
fuck
or
yeah.
do you just have a passing
I love
interest
it.
in the slop?
I love
well,
the
today
slop.
we're going
I
to
live
find
the
out.
slop.
Now, I get it. After such an accusatory intro, you might be asking yourself, well, geez. I mean, am I a Goy Slop enjoyer, or is this toxic chudlet just making this video
Super Mario 64 music? Man, that's taking me back.
so that he can use slurs with
That's the water, that's the water level music.
reckless abandon?
I know my shit.
And my child, listen, can it be both? Before you learn about your own relationship with the slop, you have to first learn about the slop itself. We have to define the slop. What is Goy Slop?
You must be the slop.
Now, this
It's like Mahatma Gandhi said, you must be the slop you wish to see in the world.
should be easy since the internet, after all, is the fount of all knowledge, so let's see what they have to say about the term Goy Slop. Okay, so yeah, Merriam-Webster doesn't want to tackle this word with a 10-foot pole, but the good news is that Know Your Meme is a close second for reliability anyways, so we'll just go with that definition. So they define Goy Slop as an anti-Semitic internet slang term used in reference to
Sure.
fast food, overly processed food, soy-based food, and otherwise
I'm starting to think that the word anti-Semitic just is a euphemism for the truth.
unhealthy food. The term combines the terms goyim, a Jewish word for people who are not Jewish, and slop, a
I love the little edit, the boom, whatever you want to call it, like a direct hit. It's like, come on.
term often used to criticize food as disgusting.
There it is,
The
they
term
said it.
implies that low-quality food is being served to the masses by the Jewish people who are purported to control the world by anti-Semitic
This guy's a good editor.
conspiracy theorists to make them depressed, unhealthy, and docile. Okay, yeah, very interesting. Clearly racist and not really related to gaming, but, you know, we got Urban Dictionary here, so let's see what they have to say. Garbage fed to goyim cattle to fuel them for wage cucking, not to be confused with goy feed given to goy hogs and golem to fatten them up. Typically includes premium goy ingredients formulated to lower the goyim's rational thought, critical thinking, and maximize risk of diabetes.
Pringles.
What's a goy ingredients? Okay, Urban Dictionary and Know Your Meme are a bust, but we do have...
I'm bored. I don't really care about video games like that.
Have you heard about the recent war with Iran?
Which network is it going to go?
Well, we're YouTubers, but we're doing a project just asking the Jewish community if they agree with like Israel and things like that.
I don't want to. You should take out bad words, cutting, and then you put what you want to hear. No, I'm not going to do that.
No, we'll show the whole video.
Are you going to cut anything what I'm going to
No,
say?
of course
Yeah, if I looked like that too, I wouldn't want to be there either.
Are you willing to tell me that?
You got
Look at them.
my word, brother. You got my word, yeah?
Those little locks, they dance in the wind.
What do you want to know?
What's your thoughts about the war with Iran, between Israel and America and Iran?
I think it's like 1940 what didn't happen, now it did happen, so that's good.
So you support the war?
I think you have to destroy the bad people. If not, we'll look like a second Holocaust.
Yeah, of course they go back to 1940. Well, in 1940, we took a little trip.
Exactly.
So you think Iran's trying to commit like a Holocaust?
You don't think so?
Personally, I don't know because...
Why not? It's very clear they want to destroy Israel, no? That's not Holocaust?
Iran haven't destroyed Israel though.
No, I know they want it. They say they're going to do that. That's
Yes, but imagine.
goal, no?
So why have
That's
they
not the goal, no, actually. They just want to live in peace.
done it yet then?
Because they don't have yet nuclear.
America and...
They don't have nuclear. They are supporting Hamas and Hezbollah. That's the only goal, to destroy Israel.
So you are a supporter of Israel?
I'm asking you. You don't believe there's a second Holocaust? What Iran wants to do?
Of course not. There's
Why
Holocaust
not?
is going on in Gaza right now, Palestine.
Gaza?
There is a
Because
second
the
Holocaust. It's happening in Gaza, exactly.
Israelis have
They
been
started
killing.
October 7, not us.
It didn't start on October 7.
Not us. No. It wasn't. He literally said it's not us. What?
They know when history started.
Well, I know history better than you.
How's that?
What? Now he's just making ad hominem attacks on the person. He's like, well, I know history better than you do.
Don't know.
How do you know that?
Because
What I
they
know?
started October 7, not us.
So what happened before?
Because history started on October 7th for us.
On October 6th. What happened on October 5th?
What happened October 6? Nothing.
What
It was
happened in
very
19...
quiet.
What
It's
happened,
fine.
what happened in 19...
It was a bright blue day on October 6th. Nothing, everything was fine. There wasn't a concentration camp filled with 2.3 million starving kids. No. Everything was hunky-dory, okay? The Israelis just wanted to dance next to the concentration camp that they we're blockading.
1948, Nakba.
1948, they wanted to come into Israel, so Israel defended themselves as they won.
No,
exactly.
After the Second World War.
Somebody got the reference. Nicely done, Astro Gypsy. I thought that was just an inside joke with only one occupant, me.
Well, the Palestinians let the Jewish people come over.
No, the UN let. The country belonged to Britain, and the UN made a resolution to give it to Israel. No.
Yeah, there was a treaty, a two-state solution.
So what
happened?
Yeah.
And the Israelis.
And then in 1967, they wanted to come and take over the whole Israel.
No. He's right that there was the partition plan in 1948, which the UN awarded formally the creation of the state of Israel. But, you know, we know that the UN was obviously the diplomatic arm of the imperial empire of both Britain and then the United States. But that's, you know, the partition plan, if you think about it, that actually never ended up happening because Israel they started ethnically cleansing Palestine, kicking the Palestinians out. You know, they did all these same shit that they're doing now, but they went around the precursors to the IDF, the Irgun, the Haganah, and the Lehi. They all went around and razed villages, destroyed entire towns, massacred many untold people. One of the most famous ones was Deir Yassin, which this was all happening before the partition plan actually went into effect. And so the further escalation committed by these Jewish paramilitary forces actually negated the partition plan, because the partition plan actually allowed for more land to the Palestinians than what ultimately transpired because of the Nakba. So you can't just say, like, you can't just go back and say, well, the partition plan. Well, the partition plan was never implemented. It was, you know, agreed upon in a resolution, but the Israelis actually ended up taking way more land. It was, you know, the partition plan awarded something like the majority. I mean, still it was a crime because it awarded the majority of the Palestinian lands to the minority of Jewish settlers. It awarded the majority of the land, all the best land, all the arable land went to Israel, and the majority of which there was less people of, you know? Does that make sense? And what actually happened after the Nakba was that Israel occupied 80% of Palestine. So you can't say that the partition plan happened. Subsequently, now he wants to bring up 1967. It's funny, he says he knows history better than us. In 1967, he says that Israel was attacked. No. In 1967, Israel attacked. Israel attacked Egypt. They started that war by bombing Egyptian airfields in the Sinai. And they claimed that because Egypt was mobilizing its forces in the Sinai, that was grounds for them to invade Egypt, which is dubious, because just because a state organizes its military within its borders a certain way, that's not a crime. That doesn't mean that they're guilty of a war crime. It's completely defensible what they're doing. You know, that's afforded their right. That's afforded under their right to self-determine. And furthermore, the reason that they mobilized their forces, the Egyptians mobilized their forces in the Sinai, as they were wont to do, in accordance with international law, was because of a threat that Israel made against Syria and ostensibly to the Arab states at large, that they were going to start a war. So, I mean, it's like, you have the Israeli prime minister making these escalatory statements about starting a war in the region. And so Egypt tries to prepare itself. And Israel uses that preparation as a pretext to start the war. So by all accounts, I mean, doesn't matter what this tiny hat, extra large tiny hat person says, because the entire international community condemns Israel for starting the war in 1967. I know we talk about it a lot. I always have to, reiterate this, but I never know who's listening. Maybe a lot of people don't know, but they certainly continue this lie that Israel was attacked in 1967. But if you look at UN Resolution 242, he wants to bring up a UN resolution like the partition plan. Well, let's bring up a more relevant one. UN Resolution 242, which condemned Israel for the war of acquisition in 1967, calls it a crime against humanity. It compels Israel to vacate the occupied territories.
And Israel wants a war. So exactly, when they win, they win.
So that's not they win.
True, because the Israelis, they're expanding settlements. Why are you running away?
I'm not running away.
So it was mid-conversation.
Look, I don't have so much time as you. How many children do you have? Nothing. Yes, I have 3 children and a wife, honey.
He's like, you have nothing. How many children do you have? Nothing. Wouldn't you say no one? Nothing. You have nothing.
To go home, talk to them. So I'm in a rush.
Boom. Roasted.
They're building an apartheid wall in South Africa right now. The settler class controlling Cape Town is spending about $7 million to wall South African communities away from a major road. They're calling it safety, but we know what to call it.
Apartheid.
You see, the settler class doesn't care about safety for South African people, because if they did, they would repatriate stolen land and resources accumulated during apartheid. What this is about is control. Cape Town generates 10% of South Africa's entire GDP, and with the Red Sea in conflict, well, global shipping is rerouting around the Cape, making it the most strategically valuable coastline on Earth. Whoever controls Cape Town controls the southern gateway of an entire continent. And the campaign to take it is already running. It's not new.
It's Jew.
The Belgians handed identity cards to the Hutu and Tutsi, 2 people who had lived together for centuries, and told them that they were enemies. The British, they pitted the Igbo against the Yoruba, the Fanti against the Ashanti to prevent a unified African resistance. Every ethnic conflict on the continent has the fingerprints of a settler.
Absolutely, Saeed, we can. I didn't know that you just posted something. I am about to sign off because we hit the 4-hour mark, but if it's not too long, well, maybe we could save it for tomorrow if you say it's heavy. But no, definitely.
Class that knew it couldn't take African land from a united people. Today, the targets are Xhosa and Zulu, township against township, African immigrant against South African. But make no mistake, South Africa isn't the only target, because a unified Africa is the greatest threat that the settler class has ever faced. Where there's land and resources and a coastline the world depends on, they will run the same program: divide, destabilize, annex. Every African nation needs to recognize what's happening in Cape Town right now, because what they are testing in South Africa, they intend to scale across the continent. Immigrant Phil Craig, born in the UK, compared Cape Town to Panama and Greenland, 2 places that Trump has already threatened to seize by military force, and invited a world power to invade a sovereign South Africa. The settler class has always been unified. The question is, when will Africa? Because if you didn't know,
now you know.
Now you know. They're building an apartheid wall and
once you know, and you can't unknow, you know what I'm saying? Okay, lots of links here. I think that I'm looking to see if Saeed, oh, here it is. Oh yeah, okay. Darkest Israeli war crimes ever recorded. Holy yeah, can we'll regroup and live to play another day, because I'm about to sign off, but I do want to take just a quick look at any news about, I mean, is it Boom Boom Tel Aviv time? Just before we sign off here. What is going on over there? Could take a look at Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera doesn't seem to be covering anything right now. I was just hoping that maybe there might be some updates concerning Iran and escalation, because it seems like everything's real imminent. I think that perhaps by tomorrow we'll be seeing footage of Israeli territory getting touched. Yeah, we'll circle back though. We'll circle back. That sounds good. Yeah, I don't see really anything on my feed here that's new. But yeah, if you didn't know this, this is the one of the bigger headlines coming out was a leaked transcript of Netanyahu's phone call with Donald Trump, where Donald Trump says, allegedly, "You're fucking crazy," he tells Netanyahu. "You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." Pretty crazy. But, you know, we'll be back tomorrow to cover more. I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Thank you to the community on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And we'll be back tomorrow for another 4-hour live. I hope you have a nice, restful evening. And I'll see you all tomorrow, okay? Peace and love.